There isn't a better home field advantage in the NFL than right here at Arrowhead Stadium for the Kansas City Chiefs. Before this packed house, they take the field with a record of 2-1, preparing to take on the Philadelphia Eagles, also with a record of 2-1. It's the NFL on Fox. A great interconference battle late today for you right here. And now welcome to the broadcast booth. I'm Joe Buck along with Troy Aikman. And Troy, I guess all week for the Philadelphia Eagles, all anybody wants to talk about is the health of Donovan McNabb. Do you know what a sports hernia is, and how can it not affect him?
I've got to believe that it is affecting him at some level, Joe, but then if you look at how he has performed over the first few weeks of this season with that injury, he has performed exceptionally well. I think if you look at last week's game in the second half, arguably his best half of football. I think the big question is, can he withstand the pain, because he is told that he can't further injure that injury by playing.
And you wonder if it's going to limit him, making him stay in the pocket. It's going to be interesting to watch. On the other side, Kansas City's just happy to be out of Denver. Trent Green is 0-5 in his career there, and they're going to find out what they're made of today.
Well, they really are. I mean, this is a team that played exceptionally well the first couple of weeks, won those games. They go to Denver last week, did not play well. I think a lot of people are trying to figure out just exactly how good this team is, and I think that they've got a big test here today against the Philadelphia Eagles to determine exactly where they're at.
Still beloved in Philadelphia is Dick Vermeil. Trent Green off to a very slow start. Only has one touchdown throw on the season. It's hot. Humidity is up. It's 86 degrees. Any thoughts of the temperature cooling down now that we're in October? Forget it. And Todd France is making his NFL debut. Kansas City will start with a football, and it's a relatively short kickoff. Taken from just outside the 10 by Dante Hall. One of the best in the business, and he's out across the 35. Todd France, in his NFL debut, makes the tackle. And we talked Trent Green. Did you know he has the second most passing yards in the NFL since 2001? Second to a guy named Manning. Sixth highest rated passer in NFL history. And you know some of those names, Hall of Fame names, that are on that list in front of Trent Green. This offense did nothing against the Broncos last week. And they start with it on the ground with Priest Holmes. Cuts it up. Good run. And he starts to go backward after crossing the 40. He's out to the 41.5. Picks up 4. We look at the rest of this offense for the Kansas City Chiefs, and it's anchored by Casey Wigman in the middle, and they've got two very good guards. But boy, Troy, do they miss the guy out at left tackle, Willie Rowe.
Well, they really do, Joe. And then if you look at the right side, Kevin Sampson making his first NFL start, and he's going to be going up against one of the premier pass rushers today in Javon Curse.
Willie Rowe has an injured left hamstring, and you wonder, because he does so much pulling and running, how long it's going to take him to get back. That's a nifty throw to Kennison for a first down. Trent Green just zipped it right in for a 14-yard completion to Eddie Kennison.
Well, Eddie Kennison, he lines up in the slot. Brian Dawkins is going to come out on him, but he apparently thinks that he's going to run a flat route, and so he does not come down and collapse on Eddie Kennison, and it created a big hole for the completion.
If you talk to Jim Johnson, the defensive coordinator of the Eagles, he'll tell you he's going to call the game differently here at the beginning to try to get the crowd out of it. You better figure something out. Pass complete to Kennison. Has a blocker out in front of him, the fullback Richardson. Picks up 7, and Jeremiah Trotter on the tackle. The defense for the Eagles, they have shut down the running game. A total of 79 rushing yards allowed over the last 2 weeks combined. And a big reason why is that guy right in the middle, Jeremiah Trotter.
Yeah, he's the guy who really wants to blow up that interior offensive line, and when he's in the game and playing, he does a great job in this run defense.
Second down and 3. Trotter was coming on a blitz, and they toss it to Priest Holmes running left. Priest Holmes is brought down. It looked like just shy of first down yardage. See where they mark it. Patterson was on the stop. A 2-yard pickup, and it literally depends on where they place it along the sideline for first down.
And Joe, this is what I'm talking about. Jeremiah Trotter, the middle linebacker, he wants to get in there and he wants to absorb the center. He wants to take him and not allow that guy to get up to the linebacker level. The Chiefs certainly are aware of that. You're going to see them wanting to try to get out on the perimeter because they realize trying to run inside with Jeremiah Trotter and the strength of this defense is not going to be very successful.
By the nose of the football, it's good for a first down. That run by Holmes. Play action. You can hear the wind hitting our microphones. Dropped off to Holmes. Priest Holmes, what a start for this Kansas City offense. They're on the move. JB is at a desk out in Los Angeles for a game break.
Hey, Joe Buck, and on the move also the Chargers. The Patriots had their 21-game home winning streak snapped, large part because of LaDainian Tomlinson. 2 touchdowns on the afternoon, 25 carries for 134 yards. Chargers convincingly over the Patriots. Back to Joe Buck, Troy Aikman, and Pam Oliver.
Yeah, I'd say convincingly. After a couple of heartbreaking losses the first 2 weeks for the Chargers, they beat the Giants last week, and they win easily over the Patriots today. On first down, a toss. Priest Holmes. So much, Troy, for the Eagles shutting down the running game. I mean, this is getting rolled over.
Yeah, in talking with Jim Johnson a couple of days ago, he was certainly concerned with the two-headed monster of Priest Holmes and then Larry Johnson. And he said the thing that we've got to do a good job of is we cannot allow them to get out on the perimeter. We have got to be able to turn everything back inside. That's where we have help. But as we've seen, the Chiefs have done a heck of a job here in this first drive of being able to get out on the edges with their running game.
Priest Holmes now has more touches of the football than anyone in Chiefs history. And he adds another. Running left, a nice cut up the field, and Priest Holmes down inside the 5. They're running left, they're running right, and Philadelphia can't stop them.
And I tell you what, when you got a Pro Bowl left guard, Brian Waters, 54, pulling out in front of you, and Priest Holmes, very patient right here, and he ducks underneath that block, and he knows that Brian Waters is going to kick anything out, and as long as he can then plant and get going up the field, he's going to pick up some good yards, and that's what he was able to do.
This is the area where Priest Holmes starts to smell that end zone.
And I'll tell you what, Joe, it's been a long time since an offense came into a game against Philadelphia and ran the ball with this kind of success this early.
Kansas City is going to use a timeout. Why do we talk about that with Priest Holmes? 64 rushing touchdowns over the last 3+ seasons. Only San Diego as a team has more, and they only have at the start of the day 65. So Priest Holmes inside the 5. This is where you expect him to get the football.
Yeah, and if they're throwing the ball, then this is where you expect Tony Gonzalez. They're all pro tied in to get the football as well. And I know that Dick Vermeil feels that they got away a little bit the last few games from what they do best, and that is being balanced, running the football, the play action passing. Part of that is the result of some of the injuries up front along that offensive line. But they definitely need to be balanced in this game against a great defensive football team.
Priest Holmes stopped. Jeremiah Trotter the first there, and Holmes just did get back to the line of scrimmage.
And when you look at these two teams, you're talking about an offense that over the course of the last 3 years has been #1 in the National Football League in scoring touchdowns down in the red zone. And they're going up against a defense in the Philadelphia Eagles that have been one of the best teams defensively in keeping teams from being able to score touchdowns.
And one thing Philadelphia does, though, and not necessarily in the red zone, is blitz. And they're one of the best blitzing teams in the NFL. But an antidote to that blitzing is the running game. And that's what Kansas City has featured on this first drive. They stay with it. Priest is in for the touchdown.
I'll tell you what, Joe, you come into a game like this, a big game for both teams, and you take your opening drive and you run it down the throat of the Philadelphia Eagles, capped off by an over-the-top run by Priest Holmes. Very impressive.
Tynes knocks it through. Philadelphia is playing without Darwin Walker, who's out with a bruised thigh. Before the season started, they cut Corey Simon loose. He's now with Indianapolis, and that presence in the middle of their defensive line certainly takes its toll, and it certainly showed up against the good ground attack of the Kansas City Chiefs. Let's go down to Pam Oliver.
Hey, Joe, Donovan McNabb was his usual joking self when we talked to him earlier this afternoon about his myriad of injuries. First of all, that sports hernia. He says, I don't even know what that is. I just know that it hurts sometimes on the left side, sometimes on the right. He describes the pain of that chest bruise as intermittent. It all depends on the time of day. His mindset going into this, Joe, very succinct in explaining that to be effective, efficient, and just to win the ball game. You can tell he's got a lot on his mind, and he's trying to push it all to the back of his mind. Joe, back to you.
Well, for that intermittent chest pain, we'll see if it jumps up and gets him here at 3:24 Central Time, because he's going to have Kansas City Chiefs hitting him right in the chest.
And he sure looked like he was in a tremendous amount of pain last week. I know we're looking at that first half, and he did not play well, and how much of it was a result of what he was having to deal with and some of the discomfort. But then he came out in the second half and just played exceptionally well. And I know Andy Reid feels that when Donovan is banged up, and we've seen it in recent years, that he tends to then get a little more focused in the pocket and with what he's trying to do in the game, and that's why he plays some of his better ball. At least it appears that way when he has had some injuries.
Well, I'll tell you, if it takes injuries to get him focused, there's no more focused athlete in professional sports than Donovan McNabb right now, because that poor guy has been in a heavyweight fight weekend after weekend, and as Pam said, joking and smiling and doing all he can to try to put that out of his mind as he takes on a, they think, improved Kansas City defense. Although last week, be hard-pressed to believe that against the Broncos. There is a lot of wind whipping around this stadium. It's actually blowing across the field from the Philadelphia sideline toward the Kansas City sideline. And we're going to talk a lot of special teams today, and a guy like Todd France, who's making his NFL debut kicking field goals. Good luck, because it is whipping around down there.
And it's going to be a factor. I mean, there's no question. And when you consider Todd France, who has never kicked the ball in an NFL game, the Eagles certainly don't want this thing to come down to field goals.
Dwayne Washington will hold it. Tynes gets into it, and this is Roderick Hood from inside the end zone. And Rod gets out across the 20. He's knocked down at the 23. Sports hernia, abdominal strain, bruised sternum, shin contusion. Who cares? Last 2 weeks, it's been a great run for Donovan McNabb in this offense.
And that probably explains why he wants to keep playing. I mean, he always wants to play, and we've seen that over the years. But when you're playing like this and you've got that momentum behind you, you don't want to come out of the game.
Here's the crowd. The wind blew the football off the hash mark. A safe throw, and the pass is complete to L.J. Smith, the tight end for Philadelphia, who very quickly is making a name for himself as one of the best tight ends in the game. The Eagles' offensive line. Big Sean Andrews is the starter this year at right guard. And then the backs and receivers. There aren't many more talented than Brian Westbrook.
Well, he's the real key, and he's probably the guy that this team can least afford to lose. And I really thought he was the spark for this team last week in that second half.
Second down and 4. McNabb has all day. Drops it off to Westbrook, who is smacked by the rookie, Derek Johnson. And I don't know how Westbrook held on. He did, and he is brought down right at the marker.
Well, the one thing we know is that the Kansas City Chiefs are going to know where Brian Westbrook is at all times, and there's going to put a lot of different people on him. That time the Kansas City Chiefs were playing in zone. Derek Johnson watching Westbrook the entire time come out of the backfield and put a pretty good lick on him.
They gave Westbrook forward progress for a first down. More playmakers this year on this defense for the Chiefs with Sammy Knight, Patrick Surtain, Derek Johnson, Kendall Bell. Philly needs a timeout. When you talk to anybody with the Eagles, they are so aware, Troy, of what this crowd does here at Arrowhead Stadium and how it can affect the game. So much so that, as we said, Jim Johnson was going to try to dial up more blitzes to get the crowd out of it, that they piped in loud noise during practice for the first time under Andy Reid to prepare for it. And this is a team coached by Reid that the last time they were here came in and kicked an onside kick to start the game to try to get the crowd out of it. And this combination of a long Chiefs drive is not what the Eagles had in mind when they came into Arrowhead.
No, and talking with those players, all of them to a man talked about how they wanted to take the crowd out of it. And the way that you do that is get off to a fast start. And, you know, as you mentioned, for the Chiefs to be able to go right down the field and score the touchdown, they did anything but take the crowd out of this. And it's a very difficult place to play. And I don't think that can be overstated.
First down, Philadelphia. Handoff is to Westbrook, who gets tripped up in the backfield by Trey Thomas. His offensive tackle, a gain of 1. And let's look at this defense, the much maligned defense over the years. The guys up front and then the linebackers. They've added Bell, and they like what Kawika Mitchell is bringing them in the middle.
I think they feel like that linebacker group is the most improved group from where they were a year ago. They liked their guys a year ago. They just couldn't run real well. So with the addition of Kendrell Bell, and then when you bring in Derek Johnson as your first-round pick, they feel like they have really upgraded the speed at that position.
Second down and 9. Mark Gordon was in the backfield, and Donovan McNabb, a good, strong throw out to Terrell Owens, a gain of 12. That's a long throw.
It's a long throw when you got a bruised sternum. You know, you're throwing it across the field. You're probably having to throw it about 35 yards to get it there, even though the completion isn't for that amount of yardage. And Lamar Gordon does a good job picking up the blitz. Kansas City dials it up early, and I think the one thing that Kansas City recognizes, Joe, is that Donovan is not going to be able to run like they're accustomed to seeing him run, and so now they feel much more confident being able to bring the blitzes.
On first down, flea flicker. T.O. behind the defense. Incomplete. Good recovery downfield. Dexter McCleon got back for Kansas City, but there was a moment there where Terrell Owens was behind everybody.
Well, initially, Joe, he had a shot. I mean, Terrell Owens had a chance. You're going to see him. He's got a shot right there. And then what you're going to catch is McCleon, who's going to run all the way back, and he's going to get underneath it. Now, if that ball is thrown to the sideline instead of closer to the hashes, then that's Terrell Owens' ball. He's got a chance for a touchdown.
Second down and 10. Westbrook hits the hole hard. Gets it inside Kansas City territory. Surtain on the tackle. A gain of 7.
And I really think in this ball game today that's one of the things that the Eagles are going to have to force themselves to do. And the reason I say force themselves is because we all understand that Andy Reid doesn't like running the football, but when you throw the ball on first down and you're able to pick up 6 or 7 yards running the ball with Brian Westbrook, you've got to be able to do that, because now you put yourself in a very manageable third down.
See how the pass has dominated the play selection for Andy Reid this year. Empty backfield on 3rd and 3. That's Westbrook. Over the middle, pass incomplete, and there are no flags. Terrell Owens expects one, and it was Surtain on the coverage.
That was pretty close, Joe. Patrick Surtain jumps to the inside on Terrell Owens, and it looked like Terrell Owens may have a legitimate complaint. There's the jam, but you got to let him go. And I think that left hand, it probably could have been called.
We've certainly seen that called. Surtain got that right arm out in front, knocked it away, and now Johnson punts it with Hall, letting it go over his head. Good punt. Checks up inside the 5, and it's down there by Quentin Michael. Let's go for a game break. James Brown, it's all yours.
All right, party, we'll take a look at Michael Vick capping off an 8-play, 78-yard drive, play action, hooking up with his favorite receiver. That would be the tight end, Algie Crumpler. 5-yard toss, and it's the Falcons on top in the first over the Vikings. 7-0. Back to our quarterback, Joe Burrow.
Wow, I didn't expect that. My quarterback is Troy Aikman.
You know, you wonder, Joe, watching Michael Vick there in the Falcons. You wonder if that injury to his hamstring has maybe helped him a little bit in terms of forcing him to stay in the pocket and have to throw from within the pocket. He sure has played well since he strained that.
How good was Priest Holmes on that first possession? Starts this one strong with a first down carry. How about that opening possession? A lot of Priest Holmes. Green was 3 for 3 on the drive. Hit Kennison twice. And then Priest took over. He ran right. He ran left. He ran forward. And he leaped. Or left. Which is it?
Whatever you want to say it is. I was going to say pretty good start here from Priest Holmes. You know, I mean, and don't forget that they work both him and Larry Johnson as this game unfolds.
A little more from Priest Holmes, running right after running left the first time. And I guess the balance for their attack right now, it's not pass to run, it's running left compared to right, and they're pretty balanced so far.
Well, so far they have. I mean, they've thrown the ball 3 times. They've got 8 runs. And I know that this is a team that they want to be balanced, but they have gotten away from that a little bit, and they've thrown the ball an awful lot. And you just can't do that against a team like Philadelphia that likes to bring the blitz. And you wouldn't expect Kansas City to be able to have the success that they're having right now running the football, but they got to stick with it.
Nothing but love over on that Philadelphia sideline as Green fires for Kennison. What a throw and catch. Hit him in stride. 49 yards to set up a first down at the Philadelphia 32.
You know, everything about this play was actually really good. I mean, Trent Green makes a perfect throw, and Eddie Kennison runs a great route, and it was actually pretty good coverage as well. He was trailing him a little bit, but by the ball being up high, Lito Shepherd just did not have a chance to defense that. You see, Lito Shepherd was actually in pretty good position, but because of a perfect pass, they couldn't defense it.
Priest Holmes. I mean, these holes are huge. First down inside the 20. Brought down by Lewis after another 14-yard run.
Well, we've talked about the Chiefs being able to get the ball to the outside, and now they come back and they're going to run it right over the left side. You see the push, Brian Waters, and then you've got Casey Wiegman, and they're pushing people out, and they create space. And Priest Holmes is as good as there is as far as trying to find some of those cutback lanes and finding a hole on the move, and he was able to find the hole on that.
Priest Holmes going to have his tongue hanging out in a minute. They are working him hard, a gain of 3. Just another note about Eddie Kennison. He used to be known in St. Louis as the guy that the Rams drafted instead of Marvin Harrison, a former first-round pick. And it's taken him until the age of 31 to have his first 1,000-yard season, which he did a year ago. And he's off to a great start again here in 05.
Yeah, and Dick Vermeil was with him in St. Louis, and he's the one who traded him to New Orleans for a second-round pick, and they used that second-round pick to get Marshall Faulk there in St. Louis.
On second down and 7, Holmes finally goes nowhere. Picked up nothing, and Dehani Jones was there for Philadelphia.
Well, I don't know that Philadelphia defensively is really accustomed to this. I mean, they're usually the big boys on the block, and they're the ones who take it to an offense, particularly early in a game. And they're not. I know in the first game against Atlanta, there was a lot of running yards. A lot of those yards came from Michael Vick, but they're not accustomed to people coming in and just beating them up like the Kansas City Chiefs are so far.
Third down and 7. Green's going to dump it off for Holmes, and Priest Holmes goes nowhere. Brought down by Javon Curse, a loss of 2. And Philadelphia bent a little bit on that drive by the Chiefs, but they did not break.
Well, Javon Curse, the left defensive end, and he sniffs it out pretty good. He's fighting through blocks, and then he's able to come off of those and still get there to make a play. And Javon Curse, who last year they worked him on both sides, this year he's focusing primarily on that left defensive end side, and he feels that he's a better pass rusher from that position.
Does not have a sack yet. which is surprising. 38-yard try here by Tynes. Absolutely drilled. And with 2 minutes left in the first quarter, it's 10-0 Kansas City. Let's talk baseball. Playoffs start this week. We, as a network, have no idea where. ALDS Game 1 Tuesday night. I guess it could be the way it's shaping up right now. The Yankees at Anaheim, or Boston at the Chicago White Sox. And right now with what's going on, and you'll see those scores scroll across the top of your screen, with Anaheim winning and the Yankees losing. The bottom of the 8th at Texas, Anaheim would have the home field advantage over the Yankees in that series.
You know, watching that game yesterday, Joe, between the Yankees and the Red Sox, and you know, you can't help but think that people really kind of take for granted exactly what Joe Torre and that Yankee team, not just this year, but what they've accomplished over the last 10 years.
And that's why he was in tears when Chris Myers grabbed him at the end of the game, because it has been a fight this season with their payroll and the guys that have gone down and trying to find guys to take the ball as starting pitchers every day. And as he said, you know, until guys actually believe that it is hard to win a division year after year, it's just taken for granted, and it's their 8th consecutive AL East title.
Well, and it's the same in football. People will never realize how difficult it is. Even the Eagle fans don't realize how difficult it is to do what the Philadelphia Eagles have done in recent years.
Washington holding. Tynes kicks it away, and from the 5, it's Rod Hood again. Hood breaks through one tackle, lost the football. Kansas City says they have it. And they do. A disastrous start for the Eagles here in Missouri. First takeaway in the last 8 quarters for this Kansas City team.
Well, Roderick Hood, as you see, he's got the ball, and it's just got the arm. It looked like he had pretty good control of it.
It was Dwayne Washington, Troy, who was the one holding for the kicker Tynes on the kickoff, and it was Chris Griffin, a backup linebacker, who made the recovery.
And it looked like Kawika Mitchell might have been the one who knocked it out.
We welcome in a new audience as the Chiefs just pounced on a Philadelphia turnover, already leading 10-0, and now we get our first look at Larry Johnson. And if you're just joining us, whether it's Larry Johnson now or Priest Holmes before him, this Philadelphia defense can't figure out a way to stop Kansas City. The game summary: 60 rushing yards already for the Chiefs. Trent Green has started out perfect. Right now he's 5 for 5, and the total yards and the scoreboard dominated by the guys in red. Javon Curse came off the field. He looks like he's injured. We'll keep track of that. On second down and a yard, Larry Johnson is going to be brought down in the backfield. Mike Patterson was the first guy there for Philadelphia.
Joe, this is the reason why Javon Curse came off the field. Will Shields is going to come around and put a big lick on him there. And the way he went down, he was hurt immediately and went right off the field as soon as he got up.
He's back there. You wonder if it's an injury or if he got the wind knocked out of him. Will Shields popped him. Been to 10 straight Pro Bowls. Shields has. It's 3rd and 1. And Green's going to take it and get a first down. That almost looked like a quarterback draw, and if it wasn't, Green wasn't going to wait around very long to let something develop.
Well, it was a quick drop. He was looking to Dante Hall or Tony Gonzalez here to the right of your screen, and the Eagles covered it up pretty good, but because of the inside game, there was nobody in the middle, and that's just a nice job by Trent Green recognizing the situation. Not really a big runner. He certainly has some mobility, but a good job there picking up the first down.
After 1-10 zip KC, they've got the ball. The NFL on Fox will continue after this. Ten to nothing as we've played one quarter here in Kansas City, and the Eagles need another stop. This Kansas City offense since 2002 has been the best red zone offense in the league with regard to touchdown percentage. This year, not so good. On first down, a toss to Johnson running left, and he's brought down by Kalu. ND brings him down, no gain.
Yeah, Larry Johnson, this is the third possession for the Kansas City Chiefs, and as Dick Vermeil told us, that the way they like to utilize both him and Priest Holmes is Priest Holmes will get the first 2 series, then they'll put Larry Johnson in for a series, and they'll go back to Priest Holmes for 2 and continue with that trend. And what happens is Priest Holmes winds up getting a 2-to-1 ratio on carries, and you know, Larry Johnson had a big fumble in that game last week coming out of the end zone against Denver, and here they are going in, and yet the coaches still have confidence in him being in this game at this point.
On second down, the pass complete to Kennison. He's knocked out of bounds by Adams after a gain of 7.
I just think if you look what Kansas City has done, I think they've done a terrific job of mixing it up, taking some shots, throwing the outside passes, getting the outside running game along with the inside running game going. And I get the feeling watching this that the Eagles are a little bit confused exactly what Kansas City is trying to do against them and what they can do now to try to slow them down.
The stadium scoreboards are out, so no clocks. We're going old school. Real old school. Might have been that electrical storm last night. Were you scared?
A little.
Troy's scared of thunder and lightning. Third down and 3.
Time the game from the field.
I just think the officials should just count backward for the entire time.
Well, I tell you, who it affects the most is the quarterback, because there is no play clock to know how much time you have, and the officials are kind of lenient on it, but yet there still is a play clock, and you still got to get the ball snapped.
Third down and 3. Philadelphia needs a stop. They would really enjoy a turnover. Blitz, quick throw, pass complete, touchdown, Eddie Kennison again. What a start he's had. Kennison gets his first of the year.
Well, Eddie Kennison, he runs a slant route, does a good job of using his body and getting physical, because these defensive backs for Philadelphia are big guys, and by using his body and Trent Green putting it right on his chest, he was able to score the touchdown.
The Chiefs, who start the day at 2-1. Leading Philadelphia, who also started the day at 2-1. Second quarter just underway. Chiefs up big.
Fox NFL Sundays, sponsored by Chevy, the new Chevrolets in American Revolution. By Charles Schwab, get premium service without the premium price. Talk to Chuck Charles Schwab. By FedEx Express, international shipping made easy. And by Budweiser Select, brewed for a crisp taste that finishes clean. Be selective.
Bad 10 minutes for Rod Hood. He fumbled on the kickoff. Kansas City took it down the field, and then Kennison beat Hood for the touchdown. And Eddie Kennison so far, 5 catches, 86 yards. Had a 49-yard reception mixed in. And Dick Vermeil with that squint. Has to be happy with the way his Chiefs have started. Here's Rod Hood again. Breaks out and gives the Eagles a good return out to the 31. Philadelphia will try to get something figured out and move the ball on offense. Little fight breaks out. No flags are down on the field, and we'll take a break. (17-0). You're watching Fox Sports Broadcasting in HD and presented by DirecTV Rethink TV. Check the Walt Whitman Bridge. Astros win, so the Phillies are eliminated, and the Chiefs are winning here over the Eagles 17-0. Philadelphia's got to get it going. They hand to Westbrook, and he picks up 2. The Manning brothers went off today. Peyton Manning finally had a breakthrough day. 4 touchdown throws, no interceptions. Eli Manning, 4 touchdown throws, no interceptions. The quarterback rating huge for both. And the bigger story there, Peyton's great, and everybody loves Peyton, but Eli Manning is getting better every week.
Well, yeah, he put a big game up last week against the Chargers, another big game today against the Rams. But for Peyton Manning, I think it helps him because he was tired of answering questions as to why he hadn't thrown a touchdown pass in recent weeks.
49 a year ago. 2nd and 8. Donovan's going to go deep. Greg Lewis is tripped up. It's incidental contact, and there are no flags. Patrick Surtain was back there along with Wesley for Kansas City.
You know, last week in that game against Oakland, this Philadelphia Eagles offensive line did a heck of a job of giving Donovan McNabb plenty of time to throw the football, and they did again there, because if you're going to allow a receiver, Greg Lewis, to get that far down the field, you've got to have some protection to be able to hold the ball, and Donovan had plenty of time.
3rd down and 8. McNabb nowhere to go with it. Lost the football. Somehow gets it back. Makes a move. Can't get a first down as he makes it to the 35, gain 2. And at this point, the Eagles are just happy they keep the football for the moment, and McNabb comes off the field healthy.
And Donovan McNabb really had time on this play as well. The offensive line does a good job picking up the twist. Sean Andrews picks it up, and they just couldn't find anywhere to throw the football. And fortunate that they didn't turn the ball over and give Kansas City another short field.
Dirk Johnson to Dante Hall. Penalty flag comes in, and Hall gets it out to the 39. Rod Hood was downfield first and kind of gave Dante Hall a slap on the helmet on his way by.
And I think that's what they called, Joe. I think they got Hood for getting the face mask there of Dante Hall.
Return, illegal block in the back. Number 21, receiving team. 10-yard penalty, first down.
So they get an illegal block in the back. That's our first flag of the game. Rod Hood had a chance to make something happen here for Philadelphia, and he did get part of the face mask as the Eagles don't get that call against him. Kansas City with a ball and a 17-point lead.
Fox NFL Sundays, sponsored by Chevy, the new Chevrolets, and American Revolution.
Well, the officials don't like it when the hometown shows a replay on the video board of a missed call. And we look at the penalty first. They called it on Woods. This cost the Chiefs 25 yards of field position. It was the block on the part of Woods in the back of Hood, and then Hood got his hand up, turned the head of Dante Hall, but they did not flag that. Toss to Priest Holmes, who makes a move on Kalu, and N.D. Kalu did a nice job. Let's go down to Pam Oliver.
Hey, Joe, that Eagles defense seems to be dazed and confused and getting madder by the minute. One assistant basically accused the defense of playing as if they were asleep. One of their leaders, Brian Dawkins, insisted to his teammates they will not score another point on us today. Jim Johnson, I've seen him really rip some guys in the past, but he's trying to keep a very calm demeanor out there. Keep an eye out for Jeremiah Trotter. The Eagles haven't given me anything official on that, but you see...
We lost Pam's microphone there, and maybe something on that right arm of Jeremiah Trotter. We'll go back to Pam. Dante Hall trying to make a move, and Adams stays with him. A good play by a big linebacker, Keith Adams. He brings down little Dante Hall, who's 5'8", 187, a gain of only 3. And Adams weighs in at 223.
Yeah, Keith Adams, last year in the playoffs is when he got his big opportunity. Started in the championship game and then went ahead and played in the Super Bowl game as well, and had a heck of a year there towards the end of the season. And then he came into this year, held on to the starting job, and he's a tough guy. I mean, he can really run sideline to sideline, and he's certainly not afraid to get up in there and put a helmet on somebody. In fact, his nickname is Bullet.
It's 3rd down and 8 here, and Kansas City will use their second timeout of this first half. So we'll take a break. 3rd down and 8 for Trent Green and company when we come back. On 3rd down and 8, the Chiefs have 2 tight ends in that huddle, Chris Wilson and Tony Gonzalez.
And even with that, Joe, the Eagles are playing a dime defense, which means they have 6 defensive backs on the field.
Empty backfield on 3rd and 8. Trent Green gonna go down. The Eagles defense steps up, and we've already called Mike Patterson's name a couple of times. They love their 1st-round pick out of USC, and he just stepped up big for the Eagles.
Well, Tony Gonzalez, he's the guy that they want to go to in critical situations, and Trent Green was looking for him, and just really good coverage there. No separation whatsoever. And then if you're going to hang on to the ball, and as you mentioned, Joe, Mike Patterson, the rookie who they're very impressed with, was able to get in and get the sack.
That was Jeremiah Trotter on the coverage of Tony Gonzalez. First punt of the day for Colquitt. And it's a good one, and here's another drop. Dexter Wynn. And he's able to fall back on top of it at the 24. We'll look at the offense, the defense, the special teams. Somebody's got to step up for the Eagles. A near fatal flaw, but the Eagles keep it.
Fox NFL Sundays, sponsored by Southwest Airlines, proud sponsor of the NFL and official airline of Super Bowl 40.
We welcome you back to a great Midwestern city. That is for breast cancer awareness. That's the Eagles' version of their hat to show their support. As we play here on Sunday, October 2nd. Speaking of October, how about baseball? AL Division Series. Our game will be, now it's official, Tuesday night. And it looks like it'll be out in Anaheim. Alex Rodriguez his year. Vladimir Guerrero, last year's AL MVP, hooking up Tuesday night. Appears like it'll be in Anaheim because the Yankees are losing at Boston 10-1. On 1st down, the pass is complete. And a 1st down, Josh Perry, the fullback, gain of 12. Let's go for a game break, and JB.
All right, Joe Buck show you that the Indianapolis Colts remain unbeaten. Marvin Harrison, 101 career receiving touchdowns, helping the Colts to move to a 4-0 mark. Cincinnati at 4-0. Jeremy Johnson on the receiving end of that Carson Palmer touchdown. 4-0 for the first time since '88. Last time they were in the Super Bowl. Back to Joe Buck.
All right, JB, thanks. 1st down for Philadelphia, and the pass to Smith. What a catch. He hauled it in. Did he control it before he went out? And they're going to give Smith the catch for now. It's right in front of us, and it'll be interesting to see if he indeed had total control when he was on his way out.
Well, he's going to come in motion here and then up, and then he's going to go to the corner route, and it's a well-run route and good patience by Donovan McNabb in laying the ball out there on the sideline. It did look, Joe, that he bobbled it a little bit, but I think he was able to get his feet down with possession of the ball.
The Chiefs are going to challenge it. It was right on their sideline. He initially grabbed it. Then the ball popped free for a second, and he re-grabbed it.
Kansas City challenging the ruling on the field of the pass was caught at the sideline.
We will take a break and give you a look at it on the other side. It was a hit from Surtain. He has it. There's a little bobble. Did he get it back in time? Challenge when we come back. Dick Vermeil's record in challenging plays is not good at all. I think 2 things. A, it's worth a challenge. It's a 19-yard difference. It's either 1st and 10 at the Kansas City 45 or 2nd and 10 at the Philadelphia 36. And I think you see a bobble here. when we look at it from other angles, and it was right on the Kansas City sideline. And the question is, did Smith control it? There's a bobble.
Of the bobble there, Joe, he gets his right foot down, but his left foot does not come down in the field of play. So if they rule that he did in fact bobble the ball, then it's going to be incomplete because he doesn't have possession and get both feet down. If the official views it and says it was not a bobble, then he would have gotten both feet down.
So it's up to Pete Morelli as to whether L.J. Smith controlled the ball the entire time. And we'll get the call.
After reviewing the play, the receiver got 2 feet in bounds. It is a catch and maintained control. Kansas City will be charged with timeout. That's their third and final team timeout. Game time is 9:16.
So out of timeouts are the Kansas City Chiefs, and in Pete Morelli's opinion, L.J. Smith had control of the football the entire way. Or at least the replay didn't show enough to overturn the call on the field.
That's right. Because considering the fact that the official saying he did not bobble it, then clearly he would have then gotten both feet in.
See those finals rolling through the Fox box on the top of your screen. It's first down, and this crowd trying to climb back in it. They've been coasting up 17-0, and the pass is complete. Terrell Owens was dragging Dexter McCleon down inside the 30. A gain of 17.
You know, and that's where Terrell Owens is just so dangerous. I mean, he's not the greatest route runner. He's very good on deep throws. He's very good on crossing routes, but he is extremely dangerous once he gets the ball in his hands, because this is a big man. I don't know that people realize just how big and physical he is. He's very difficult to get to the ground.
All you have to do is watch him in pregame warm-ups when he doesn't have his pads and jersey on. He is ripped. Owens, another catch, and he's brought down at the 20. Picked up 9. Derek Johnson on the stop. NFL next week. What are the big games, you ask? The answer, Buccaneers and Jets, the undefeated Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and they barely sneaked away with a victory over Detroit at home today. And these Eagles will be at Dallas for a matchup in the NFC East. That's the late game, plus other regional action. They're going to reset the play clock, which went down to 9, as the Eagles are still in the huddle. 2nd and 1. Blitz. Westbrook lost yardage. He lost 2, and Kawika Mitchell was the first one to hit him from Kansas City.
Kawika Mitchell, he's the guy that the Kansas City Chiefs feel is the real key to this defensive football team. And in fact, Dick Vermeil said if we're going to be a good defensive team, then Kawika Mitchell has to play well. That was a big play there, bringing Brian Westbrook down and causing him to lose yardage.
Brings up 3rd down and 4. Mark Gordon is in the game at tailback, and this one is way out of the reach of Terrell Owens, and McNabb ends up on his back. 4th and 4.
Well, Kansas City there on a 3rd down decides to bring the blitz, and they bring people up inside, as you're going to see. And Donovan McNabb has some time because the offensive line blocks it up pretty well. Now on the other side of it, you've got Terrell Owens one-on-one on the outside against Patrick Surtain, and that was a touchdown. All you've got to do is get the ball on his body, and it's a touchdown.
NFL debut and attempting a field goal for Todd France. His first try, 40 yards. A lot of wind down on that field. And it's blocked. Not only is France being introduced to the NFL, but now the holder, Coy Detmer, has to hold for a right-footed kicker for the first time. And it was Eric Hicks who got in there and blocked it for the Kansas City Chiefs, still 17-0. The block by Hicks. He got up and got a hand on it. Detmer is trying to handle the snap from Bartram. It's a little low. Detmer got it down, tilted it, And Todd France kicked it right into that big right hand of Eric Hicks. Now, why is France in the game? Because David Akers last week tore the lower part of his right hamstring. He persevered. He stayed in the game. And he ended up hitting a game-winning 23-yard field goal to win the game over Oakland.
You know, Rocky doesn't look so good these days.
The Rockies lost it. Burgess Meredith would tell you know what, Rocky, let's just forget it.
I remember when he used to punch slabs of meat and run through the streets of Philadelphia. He's been on a little hiatus here in recent years.
But those calves couldn't last one round on those calves. So France, who played in NFL Europe, was an engineering major at Toledo. His calculations were a little off on that 40-yard try. Screen pass, and it was out of the reach of Holmes. There was pressure on the play by Jaquay Thomas, who was a game-time decision, has been bothered by a left knee injury. But he got his hands up and bothered the timing of that play. 2nd down and 10. It's the first incomplete pass that Trent Green has thrown today. Holmes tries the right side. Cuts it upfield, and Priest Holmes has another Kansas City first down. We can talk about the field goal, but let's go back to that missed opportunity that McNabb and Owens had.
Well, and the protection, like I said, was so good. I mean, they block it up inside, and as a quarterback, you dream of this right here. One-on-one on the outside with your best wide receiver, and you're running a post route, and you've got a lot of field to work with, and it was just a ball that got away from Donovan. You know, how much of it is because he's injured, how much of it is that he just missed the throw, but that's compounded then by the missed field goal by Todd France.
See if this will be a false start on Kansas City.
False start, number 88, offense. 5-yard penalty, remains first down.
Big day for wide receivers earlier today in this week 4 across the NFL. Plexico Burress, 10 catches, a 200-yard day, and the Giants win over St. Louis. Marvin Harrison up over the century mark in career touchdowns, and Joey Galloway, 7 catches and a ton of yards with a touchdown. On the receiving end from Brian Greasy. Tony Gonzalez has not had a pass thrown his way yet. And that continues as they drop one off for Holmes, who's tripped up. And a good play by Trotter, who knifed through there and made the tackle on Holmes after a gain of 6.
Kansas City now here in this first half, they've run a number of screens, and they like to run the screens anyway, but particularly against a defense like Philadelphia that tends to over pursue or bring the blitz. Overall, Philadelphia's done a good job not giving up a lot of yards.
Talk about Tony Gonzalez and the threat he gives a defense. This is a coordinator in Jim Johnson and a defense that has to deal with Witten of Dallas 2 times a year and Shockey 2 times a year, so they're not unfamiliar with dealing with a big athletic tight end. 2nd and 9. Everybody was moving, and that includes Kansas City. Another false start.
False start, number 84, offense. 5-yard penalty, still 2nd down.
It's Chris Wilson, backup tight end. So it's 2nd down and 14.
You know, I think one of the things when you talk about this Philadelphia Eagle defense, this is a group of guys that have played together a long time. I mean, there's not a lot of new faces. The secondary's intact. The linebackers are. A few changes along that defensive line. But because they've played together for so long in Jim Johnson's system, he's really able to do a lot of different things and be very creative within his pressure packages.
And he's got a great quarterback out there in Brian Dawkins. That's picked off. That's exactly what the Eagles needed. Sheldon Brown will walk in for the touchdown. And Sheldon was waiting for that pass from Trent Green. The Eagles have life here with 4:41 left in the first half.
Well, you're going to see Sheldon Brown. He read this the entire way. He doesn't even he doesn't even really get moving. So you got Trent Green, who thinks he's got the slant, but because Sheldon Brown doesn't move, he read it the whole way. I mean, these guys know that when they're playing against offensive teams, they want to throw the ball quick because of the pressure package. So they sit on a lot of those shorter routes. That's what Sheldon Brown was able to do on that one, and I don't think Trent Green ever saw him.
Trent Green is ticked off about something on the sideline, and here's a bad snap. Detmer throws it to no one. So this is a special teams nightmare. Detmer is trying to handle the snap from Bartram. As we said, for the first time holding for a right-footed kicker if you don't count Mark Simoneau. And he couldn't get that one down. So it's 17-6. Trent Green threw the interception. And he is ticked on the sideline for the Chiefs, who lead by 11. Sheldon Brown gives the Eagles a huge lift with an interception and a 40-yard return. It's his first career touchdown. Then the Eagles miss on the extra point. The problem was really on the snap, which we'll show you. Bartram's over there shaking his head. But he's now looking back at Detmer, who's on the other side. Used to holding for one of the best kickers in the game, David Akers. Now Todd France, and France will kick it away. Dante Hall from about the 3. Dante Hall outruns France, outruns Wynn, and has a kickoff return for a touchdown, the 6th of his career. There's a flag on the near sideline. It's just inside the 30.
Offside. Number 52 kicking team. Penalty is declined. Result of the play. Touchdown.
So it's an offside on the kickoff. And a 96-yard return from Dante Hall, who is electric doing this.
Just a great job by the entire group. But Dante Hall starts up the left side. He's able to bounce it all the way across the field to the right. Todd France is the only one who has a chance to try to make the tackle, and there's no way he's going to bring Dante Hall down in the open field.
Hall now with 6 career kickoff returns for a touchdown. And it's 24-6. Hall's 10th overall return for a touchdown. He has 4 as a punt returner. And the Chiefs are having fun today at the Eagles' expense. They lead 24-6. How do the Eagles now respond? Down 24-6. Dante Hall now with 10 combined returns for a touchdown, meaning kickoff returns and punt returns. The record holder is Brian Mitchell with 13. Eric Metcalf had 12 during his career. And then there's Dante Hall with 10. Special teams mistakes all over the place. A fumble on a kickoff return by him, Rod Hood. They had a blocked 40-yard field goal try, a miss on the extra point on a bad snap, and then they allow a kickoff return for a touchdown, and now Hood will take a knee in the end zone. And they look like this. The fumble by Rod Hood. The Chiefs took that and went down and scored a touchdown. The drop by Wynn, able to get back on top of it. The block on the 40-yard field goal attempt by France. No chance on that. And then the kickoff return for the touchdown by Dante Hall. 6th time he's done it as a kickoff return man. And veteran coach knows to get the face out of the way of a face mask when your players come in to hug you. But those two have hugged more than Dick and Carroll have hugged over the years.
Well, Dick's got to be pretty happy right now with how things have gone here in the first half. He said that this was the best team that he has faced since he's been the head coach of the Kansas City Chiefs, coming in here to Arrowhead Stadium.
First down for Philadelphia at their own 20. How does Andy Reid try to get back in it? And McNabb throws, just got rid of it, and suffered a hit. Coming up to make the hit was Kendrell Bell.
Well, Kendrell Bell, yeah, putting a pretty good lick on Donovan. And, you know, that's been part of his problem here since the Atlanta game, is that each week he's taken a pretty good shot there to the sternum area. And that's right in that same vicinity. I don't know if it did anything to flare up that injury or not, but he certainly has had those hits over the last 2 weeks that have.
There is McNabb's day under pressure. 2nd and 10. Penalty flag comes in. And that play never got away. I think the play clock expired.
Delay of game. Offense. 5-yard penalty remains, 2nd down.
Well, the electricity was out there for so long. The play clocks weren't even in operation. You wonder if Donovan was even aware that they had turned them back on. You know, one thing about it with this Philadelphia Eagle team that we saw last week is that even when they've come out and not played particularly well, they can certainly turn it around in a hurry. There's still a lot of football left to be played. My biggest concern as far as the Eagles are concerned is what do they do about their kicking game?
Second down and 15. Brian Westbrook hasn't been a factor. And what a great play by Jared Allen. He showed some speed for a big guy.
Well, Jared Allen is the guy who they really like along this defensive line. He's a guy who really loves to play the game. He plays with a great motor. He's very tenacious. In fact, he just loves rushing the passer. Dick Vermeil didn't start him in week 1 because he wanted him to get a little bit more focused on playing the running game as well. That time he was still rushing the passer, but he was able to turn around and make a heck of a play.
Last year, a 4th-round pick from Idaho State. 3rd down and 13. Westbrook, nothing there. The rookie Johnson along with Mitchell. A gain of 4 and another punt coming from the Eagles.
Well, it looked like they had a little something coming out on that screen. Sean Andrews, he's going to be the right guard. He comes out and he's got some room, but this is a very difficult assignment for an offensive lineman to try to block somebody with that kind of athletic ability and space, and Sean Andrews whiffed.
Dante Hall has 4 punt returns for touchdowns, and he will get away as that punt from Dirk Johnson traveled only 31 yards. Pro Bowler, they got to back it up.
I wouldn't mess with him.
You already have once. On 1st down, play action. Green fires, and the pass is incomplete. Dhani Jones rolled in front of the intended receiver, Tony Richardson, and almost came away with a pick. The head lineman says, give me the ball. I saw it all the way. And Andy Reid is thinking about a challenge.
Well, it was close. I mean, Trent Green throwing out to the flat. Does the ball hit the ground? And from that angle there, it's hard to tell. It's hard to imagine that it didn't, but
the Eagles will challenge it. The ball does hit the ground, and this will be a challenge that will cost Philadelphia a timeout. So Andy Reid's going to challenge it. If they got another better look at that play, he'd like to pull that flag back into his pocket. Incomplete pass, it looks like. The Eagles need a break, but they're not going to get it after that challenge.
After reviewing the play, the pass hit the ground. Incomplete. 2nd down.
2nd and 10 with a ball at the Kansas City 49. So there's only 1 timeout remaining in this half, and it belongs to the Eagles. 2:45 left in this half. Larry Johnson falls out. Philadelphia needs a turnover, and they get it. Larry Johnson lost it. Javon Curse is the man who hit Larry Johnson. The ball popped out, and Sam Rayburn gets on top of it for the Eagles, but Curse forced it.
Joe, I don't think Larry Johnson ever had possession of the ball. I mean, if you watch this, it looked like a high handoff from here. No, it was right there in his pocket, but it looked like he never really had control of the ball before getting hit by Javon Kurtz. The ball came out very early. He just never really had his hands on it. Didn't look like he gave Trent Green really much of a pocket for him to put the ball in.
Yeah, Johnson never got his arms on that football at all. And so the Eagles get what they need. They take over at midfield, trailing by 18. They hand to Brian Westbrook, who goes nowhere. So Westbrook gets it on the handoff, and Westbrook lost half a yard.
Well, and part of the problem was they brought the blitz off the edge. Kansas City did, and didn't get any movement up inside, and that's why that play didn't go anywhere. I know Larry Johnson now with 2 fumbles in consecutive weeks certainly cost his football team last week, and see if it's going to do the same thing here.
McNabb was looking to get rid of it early, has to pull it down twice and throws. Penalty flag is down. Terrell Owens was the intended receiver. Wesley had him on the coverage, and it's a hold against the defense. This will be an automatic first down.
Holding, number 22, defense. 5-yard penalty, automatic first down.
They get Dexter McCleon, who's playing. He was supposed to be the nickelback. Eric Warfield is serving his last game of his 4-game suspension. We're at the 2-minute warning. Philadelphia with a first down. Coming up on the Visa Halftime Report, JB, Terry, Howie, and Jimmy will have scores and highlights from around the league, and the Fox Sports ticker has up to the second scores and stats. These two teams play in 2 of the best sporting venues anywhere, not just in the NFL, but Lincoln Financial Field and Arrowhead Stadium. Great home field advantage for each side. And this Kansas City team has been so good under Vermeil here at home. Dick is in his 5th year with the Chiefs, and they're 22-11 when they play here at this stadium.
In fact, the worst loss that Dick Vermeil has suffered here at Arrowhead Stadium was against these Eagles back in 2001, losing by 13.
First down for Philadelphia, and the pass is out of the reach, nowhere close to Terrell Owens. That time McNabb is throwing on the run, Troy, and we've talked about the sports hernia. The word hernia, you could make the case, as Artis Hicks is going to limp off. The word hernia shouldn't even really be in it, because a hernia would lead you to believe that something is protruding or popping out that shouldn't. But it's a lower abdominal strain, and just the ability to step into a throw and get something on a pass has got to be affected by that.
Well, that, and then when you lose your left guard, that's going to affect you as well. And Adrian Clark comes in place of Artis Hicks, and how much protection is he going to provide?
And the Chiefs blitz. McNabb fires and hits a wide open Greg Lewis for a big Philadelphia first down. Just outside the 35, and a fresh set of downs with 1:42 and counting left.
Good job by that offensive line picking up the pressure, and Donovan McNabb puts the ball right where it needs to be in order to pick up a key first down.
So on first down, moving in a hurry, the pass is perfect for Owens. Makes a move. Terrell Owens sets up first and goal. Owens brought down at the 7 is where they're going to mark it, first and goal for the Eagles.
Well, and that's the style of this offense. You think you've got them bottled up, but they have the ability to create big plays going vertically down the field. We saw Donovan miss Terrell Owens earlier in the game. This time he's able to put a pretty good pass on him. In fact, Benny Sapp looked like he might have even been able to get a hand on that ball, but good concentration by Terrell Owens of getting that ball in his hands.
As a guy who has engineered so many 2-minute warning drives or 2-minute drives, you wonder why the Eagles just used their last time out right there. There's 1:18 left. They get a first and goal. The defense is scrambling, trying to get back. The Eagles have something going. You know, you'd like to keep the timeout if you can, and they spend their final timeout.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, that's not the best time to do it. With that much time on the clock, you still have the ability to run the football. Certainly can call a pass play at the line of scrimmage. I'm guessing that maybe the fact that they had a young left offensive guard in the game. You just don't know how much work he's had within that offense or how comfortable he is knowing what's being called.
Yeah, I was wondering if maybe they were trying to get Hicks back in the game, but Adrian Clark is still out there at left guard. It's 1st and goal. McNabb over the middle, touchdown Owens. The Eagles get the turnover, and Owens comes down the field, sets up the 1st and goal, and then scores the touchdown. A 7-yard completion. And for T.O., it's his 4th touchdown of the season.
Well, and I got to tell you, Joe, I mean, there's a lot of people on this Eagles team that I could understand getting open, but Terrell Owens is not one of them if I'm a Kansas City Chiefs defender. There's no reason not to have a body on him knowing that he's such a big target down here in the red zone.
They're going to try the extra point. And hit it. So the Eagles make it an 11-point game, and I'm sure a lot of Philadelphia fans, as you look at this touchdown, Owens is the one in the middle of the field in the end zone left wide open.
Yeah, it just that's a hard one for me to understand, knowing that the Eagles do like some play action and just a breakdown in coverage. I mean, you can see there's just nobody near Terrell Owens, and that's one of the linebackers. One of the linebackers lost responsibility and got confused and didn't go with Terrell Owens.
You know, I started to say that I'm sure Eagles fans, Troy, are thinking, well, they're down and they can make it a 10-point game if they go for 2. But a lot of coaches that you talk to across the league will tell you in the first half, you start playing that game and you don't make it, and you're constantly chasing that point for the rest of the day.
Joe, I agree with you. I'm not a coach, but I have that same belief that so many times early in games, coaches try to look at their chart and say that it suggests you should go for 2. Points are vital, particularly early in games, and you accumulate as many as you can and wait until you get into the 4th quarter, because oftentimes those points that you didn't take on an extra point wind up hurting you at the end.
So now the question is, can Dante Hall sneak through this kick coverage team and do it again? France gets off his best kickoff, and Hall from inside the 5 is going to go toward the sideline, cut it back toward the middle, and he's brought down at the 25. Why did Troy Aikman run across Brian Waters earlier in his career? Let's have Brian explain.
When I was my first year coming out of college, I was a rookie free agent with the Dallas Cowboys playing fullback. And my greatest, one of the most disappointing experiences in the world was I was sitting in the huddle with Troy Aikman. And as my tight end coach was trying to tell me what to do, Troy turned to me and said, if you don't know what the bleep to do, then get him to bleep out of here. So that was a great experience I had with Troy Aikman.
That's just the touchy-feely side of Troy that you had in the huddle and in other places. Trotter makes the stop. All right, here you go. A nation is watching. Defend yourself.
I think the good thing is that Brian Waters viewed that as a great experience, because when I saw this, I immediately went to Brian Waters out here on the field before the game and wanted to make sure there were no hard feelings based on that. He was a tight end at the time. Now he's an all-pro left guard.
Yeah, I mean, if you never heard of Brian Waters again, would you care?
Well, of course I would, yeah. I mean, but, hey, we were an experienced team back then. You know, we needed guys that knew what they were supposed to do.
Hey, you got to be the guy in charge in that huddle.
Well, apparently I was.
There's no doubt about that. 2nd down and 9. Johnson with a big run. Out across the 45. And Brian Waters was part of that big run for Larry Johnson in this offensive line for the Kansas City Chiefs.
I think Brian Waters might very well be the best offensive guard in football. And, you know, that distinction always went to Larry Allen, but he's playing awfully well.
Gonzalez will not end the first half without a catch. But that's the final play, much to the chagrin of these fans here at Arrowhead. So it's an 11-point game at the half. But everything's good with you and Brian Waters now? It's all good?
Yeah, and I'm happy about that. He's a big man. He's bigger than he was.
Oh, man, I bet he is. We heard him earlier say he ate his way onto the offensive line.
Well, he's already told us he's the meanest guy on the offensive line, and anytime I hear that from a guy who's 300 pounds, I tend to make amends with him.
You almost picked the wrong guy to pick on in that huddle. Flexing your muscle, Aikman. Chiefs got off to a great start today, but the Eagles got a key turnover. Turned it into a touchdown. 11-point game at the half here in Kansas City.
The Visa Halftime Report is sponsored by Visa. With Visa, you're protected.
Well, Priest Holmes showing he is still the man on the ground as Kansas City is on top of Philadelphia 24-13. Priest Holmes 13 carries, 70 yards, and a touchdown. That in the first half.
Dallas Cowboys staying on the West Coast, staying out there so they could play these Raiders. Kerry Collins, Randy Moss, look at us go. Turn it on, Randy. Come on, Randy. 79-yard led to a field goal, 3-0 Raiders. And then Lamont Jordan out of the eye, takes it right up the middle, 2-yard touchdown. It is the Raiders 10-3 over the Cowboys. Michael Vick getting ready to go up against the Vikings. Vick, play action. What's his nice play? Look at that. A lot of poise to do that. Beautiful job. Algie Crumpler at the goal line, 5-yard touchdown, 7-0. Atlanta over the Vikings, second quarter. Vick back to pass, dumped by Erasmus James. Gets rid of the football down, walks off the field under his own power, folks. Sprained right knee, returned questionable, 21-0. It is Atlanta over Minnesota after this beautiful 37-yard run for a touchdown by Roy Dunn. Nice job. Good stuff right there. I like that. Nice.
Love you editorializing there, TB. Jets with Brooks Bollinger at the helm. Only 37 total yards in the first half. And the Giants, highest scoring team in the league, beating the Rams. Washington moved to 3-0 for the first time since '88. And the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are now 4-0 for the third time in franchise history. Patriots lose to the Chargers, snapping their 21-game home winning streak convincingly by the Chargers. Broncos, third straight victory today. Colts get big scores on the offense, but the defense has allowed only 26 points. Bengals 4-0 for the first time since '88. Last time they went to the Super Bowl. Hey, and Terry loves it when I do the quotes. Do the quotes there? In quotes stuff. What now?
No, I don't do quotes.
Don't do quotes. When they play their home game. Hey, folks, baseball postseason on Fox Tuesday night. Yankees lost today, so it will be the Yankees at the Angels right here on Fox Tuesday night, 8 o'clock Eastern time, 5 Pacific. And the Angels, the only team with the winning record against Joe Torre's team. Special teams for the Eagles.
Eagles, special teams. Field goal block, blown snap on a PAT, fumble on a kickoff return, fumble on a punt return, and giving up a touchdown on a kickoff return. Struggling.
That being said, it's 24-13. Philly with a great defense, Philly with an explosive offense. Still close.
So they need to work on their special
teams. They struggle. They're struggling.
Big Poppy, you got anything?
You look like Robert Duvall. More and more.
Ed Asner coming back with highlights on the Visa halftime after this.
Ready for the start of the third quarter. I didn't know you could dance like that, Aikman. That was awesome.
You like that, huh?
Oh, boy, you're coming to our booth.
You were pretty good, too.
Thanks. What a dancer. What a quarterback. What an analyst. Analyze what we've seen so far and what we're about to see.
You know, Joe, I think that both these teams, if they look at what happened in the first half, they're going to be disappointed by the mistakes that took place and think to themselves, what if some of these things hadn't have occurred? But, you know, looking forward into the second half, Philadelphia gets the ball here to start the second half, and one good drive, they're right back in this ball game, and you kind of sense that they were starting to get a little bit more confidence there towards the end of that second quarter.
Yeah, I would agree with that. They got that turnover on the fumble by Larry Johnson, and then Terrell Owens ends up with a 7-yard touchdown catch. Our fantasy update, Donovan McNabb, his numbers, not bad. Trent Green started out perfect. Didn't throw his first incompletion until the second quarter. Westbrook has not been a factor at all. Brian Westbrook, 208 total yards last week against the Oakland Raiders, and I just saw it fly by, but it's less than 20 total yards in this game against Kansas City. Rod Hood on the return. There's a penalty flag on the kickoff, and it appears in the area of an offside. So the Eagles will take that return, tack 5 yards onto the end of it, and they'll have great field position.
And what you said, Joe, about the Kansas City Chiefs and the job that they've done.
Number 21, kicking team. 5-yard penalty at the end of the run. First down.
The job that the Chiefs defense has done against Brian Westbrook is accurate. I mean, he hasn't been able to get on track running the football. He came into this game averaging just over 5 yards per carry when he ran the football. Granted, he doesn't run the ball a lot, but Kansas City's been able to keep him bottled up there. And then also in the passing game, He's got 3 receptions there in the first half, but he hasn't been able to do a whole lot with those either.
We asked Andy Reid about his running game and if it's where he wants it for the Eagles. He said, if I had my way, we wouldn't run it at all. That's what he thinks about being balanced. L.J. Smith on the reception. And he picks up 9+. Let's go down to Pam Oliver.
Hey, Joe, we will continue to keep an eye out for Donovan McNabb. He was the last player to walk up that tunnel, and he did so with a grimace on his face. Meanwhile, as for the Kansas City Chiefs, Dick Vermeil told me at halftime that, sure, we gave away momentum. You cannot give up the ball to a team that good and not expect them to score. He says those 13 points are a complete result of those turnovers. We have to take care of the ball, and we've got to force some things to make up for the momentum that we gave the Eagles in the first half.
All right, Pam, thanks. They gave L.J. Smith enough for a first down blitz. And it's dumped off to Westbrook, who makes a move, and he's out of bounds inside the 35. Let's take a look back. Chiefs got off to a 17-0 lead. Priest Holmes capped a great drive for Kansas City to start it. Sheldon Brown with a 40-yard interception return for a touchdown. It was 17-6. But then Dante Hall returned a kick for a touchdown. 24-6. Then the 7-yard touchdown throw to Terrell Owens to make it 24-13. That's where we are. Second down and short for the Eagles. McNabb hopping around. Greg Lewis is overthrown. Lewis was open, but McNabb missed him.
Well, yeah, he had an opportunity for Terrell Owens, and he's on the outside, and then he goes to the middle on the post, and there's nobody deep. And on the other side of that, Billy McMullen was in the slot, and he ran vertically up the field, and nobody went with him. If Donovan had seen either one of those guys, it would have been a touchdown, but he didn't, and so it's not.
And it's 3rd and 2. Donovan a slow first half last week against Oakland, and then lit it up in the second half. Westbrook looking for a first down, and Brian Westbrook will find it at the Kansas City 30.
You go back to Pam's report and what she spoke with Dick Vermeil, and he's absolutely right. I mean, Kansas City had all the momentum in the world on their side there in that first half, and then when Larry Johnson fumbled and he gives the Philadelphia Eagles an opportunity to go down and get a touchdown prior to the half, that's huge. I mean, there's a lot of people that say that if you allow a team to go down and score before half, that the percentages of that team then going on to win the game go up dramatically.
Westbrook is lined up at the top of your screen, and he gets it on the pass from McNabb, making a move in space. Pretty good open field tackle by Derek Johnson, the rookie linebacker, and a gain of 4.
And this is a good drive right now by the Philadelphia Eagles to take the possession here to start off the second half and move the football down the field. Of course, they got great field position there with the penalty on the kickoff, but doing a good job moving it around.
But as you said earlier, they don't know what to expect from their kicking game. I mean, they certainly didn't know what to expect with a hamstring injury last week with Akers. But outside of one extra point, they haven't shown the ability to get a kick away. Second down and 6, McNabb. Little bootleg throw, and it's off the hands of Terrell Owens. And that's all on Terrell Owens.
There's a great call by Andy Reid, the offensive coordinator, trying to take advantage of a defense that's over pursuing. And this is not an easy throw for a right-handed quarterback moving to his left. But Donovan put that ball perfectly along the sideline, and that's a ball that Terrell Owens has to catch.
But look at the leg action on that throw by McNabb. You couldn't convince anybody that he's got a quote-unquote sports hernia or a lower abdominal groin strain.
I think watching him here in this game today, he certainly appears to be healthier at least, or not feeling as much discomfort as he was a week ago.
Blitz coming on 3rd and 6, and McNabb hangs in down the middle, incomplete. McNabb waited as long as he could, and then he had Owens wide open, and he missed him. It's 4th down.
And the reason that it was incomplete is Donovan McNabb thought that Terrell Owens was going to keep running. This is a great look at it. Donovan leads him, and Terrell, because he was so wide open, kind of shut it down a little bit. And that's what happens when you got a guy that's that wide open. You've got a quarterback that thinks he's going to keep moving, and as a receiver, you think that he's just going to put it on you.
44-yard try for France. Better snap. The hold is down, and France draws it in. Todd France puts a smile on the face of Andy Reid. The snap, the hold. Todd France out of NFL Europe hits a 44-yarder, and it's an 8-point game.
Fox NFL Sunday is sponsored by Southwest Airlines, proud sponsor of the NFL and official airline of Super Bowl 40.
Todd France will kick it away, happy after having hit a 44-yarder, and Dante Hall. The kickoff was short. Dante Hall. Reno Mahe forced him back toward the middle of the field, and Hall gets it out to the 39. 26-yard return. Let's go back to that third down incompletion.
Yeah, we've got Terrell Owens right here, and then you're going to look at Sammy Knight, the safety, and Terrell Owens is going to come down the field and just do a little bit of a stutter move. But look at all that field right here that's open, and this is the second time now that we've seen Kansas City come up with no safety in the middle of the field and challenge these wide receivers because they're blitzing, and 2 times we've seen the Philadelphia Eagles not be able to capitalize.
I'll tell you who else was wide open was Reggie Brown at the top of the screen. There was nobody around him, but McNabb did not look his way. Priest Holmes on first down gets 4, brought down by Hollis Thomas. So Philadelphia gets the first points of this second half. They trail by 8. Their defense handed the ball over to the offense. Philadelphia's did at midfield toward the end of the first half, and Philadelphia turned it into 7. Second down and 6. Play action. Priest Holmes, a very good back, catching passes. He picked up 1. And Tony Gonzalez has 1 catch and has been a non-factor to this point.
Well, the reason that is because they've really used him more as a blocker today than what he's probably accustomed to being. And you know, when you're playing against the Philadelphia Eagles and you know that they've got the ability to put pressure on a quarterback, sometimes as a tight end, that's what you've got to do. But I can tell you that Jim Johnson, he's going to keep trying to bring pressure if that's what it means, because the last guy he wants to see running down the field is Tony Gonzalez.
Third down and 5. Green is in trouble, and Javon Kearse gets his first of the year. That forces a Kansas City punt. A loss of 6, and Kearse is finally on the board.
Yeah, and again, it was Tony Gonzalez who was double teaming him on the outside. Gonzalez is in the position there as the wing guy, but he gets outside and he opened up the lane there for Javon Kearse. Javon Kearse, as we talked about, one of the premier pass rushers. He gets Gonzalez moving up the field, and that created a lane for him to come underneath.
Colquitt the punt. Lynn is waiting for it. Beautiful punt. And Wynn lets it go over his head and into the end zone. I guess the question I'll ask you when we come back, so think of a good answer, Troy Aikman. Why are they using Gonzalez as just a blocker today?
And why do they have blocking Javon Kearse?
Think. You've had your time to think, Troy, but we'll wait for the answer after McNabb and company does something on first down. They hand it to Lamar Gordon, the former St. Louis Ram. For a short time, Miami Dolphin picks up 8. Why? I mean, is there a simple answer as to why Gonzalez is a decoy and a blocker today instead of a receiver?
Well, I definitely don't think that the Chiefs intend for Gonzalez to be a decoy by any means. I mean, they know how important he is to this offense and what a threat he can be, but you know, a lot of times when you start trying to spread out a defense like Philadelphia, that is when they start bringing more people off the edges. But I definitely believe that Gonzalez has got to become more of a receiver for them to have some success.
Second down and 2. And a good second effort by Lamar Gordon gets Philadelphia first down.
You know, I think this is one of those games for Philadelphia that they probably would have liked to have run the ball a little bit more, certainly, than what they have. They're currently throwing the ball about 77% of the time in this game, and that's up from where they were coming into the game. when they were averaging about 68% of the time throwing the ball, but they're just not having a lot of success running it right now. Kansas City has done a pretty good job.
On first down, McNabb over the middle to Terrell Owens. And Owens is brought down right at the marker.
He was tackled by Greg Wesley.
It depends on the spot, and they're just going to give Philadelphia first down.
Yeah,
Greg Wesley on that tackle.
Sorry, Joe. I actually thought that Terrell Owens had come up a little bit short, but he got a pretty good spot that gave him the first down. But, you know, Terrell Owens is just, because he's such a threat to run by people, a lot of times he's able to then work the middle of the field without too many bodies around him.
Westbrook is back in the game, and McNabb finds Owens again. Owens hit, gets away from that hit, and he's out of bounds with a first down. Patrick Surtain was out there defending. He put a hit on the big body of Terrell Owens, and Terrell just kept on going.
Surtain's been on Terrell Owens an awful lot today, and yeah, you understand that you cannot come up on Terrell Owens and try to tackle him high. I mean, you really do have to go low on him. Surtain had already missed the tackle at that point, and then you got Derek Johnson, who's grabbing around his legs. He's just a hard guy to get to the ground.
First down, Philadelphia. 47-yard line of Kansas City. McNabb has time. Fires for a wide open Terrell Owens. And Owens is down to the 26. 2 penalty flags are down back in the area where McNabb was being protected, and this is a hold against the Eagles. It'll wipe away a 21-yard completion to Owens.
Number 77, offense, 10-yard penalty, still first down.
So Artis Hicks, who left in the first half, is back, and he commits a holding foul to bring that one back.
A lot of times these offensive linemen, when they have some injuries and they're not able to use their feet very well and they lose balance, that's when they start grabbing and trying to clutch people, and that's exactly what happened to Artis Hicks. He doesn't look like he's moving particularly well, and so when you don't get in good position and a defender's running by you, the next thing you know, you're getting called for a holding penalty.
Owens is out of breath over on the sideline. It's first down and 20. Eagles have thrown it 26 times today. There have been no Kansas City sacks. L.J. Smith, they set up a tight end screen, and Smith is out to the 46. Boston, that's a final now. So Boston beats the Yankees. Anaheim won at Texas. They swept that series. That means that game 1 of that divisional series between the Yankees and the Angels will take place out in Anaheim on Tuesday evening at 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific, here on Fox. Second down and 17 for the Eagles. McNabb's going to air it out. Terrell Owens is down there, and the pass is intercepted. Dexter McCleon. Jared Allen had pressure. McNabb threw it up, and Dexter McCleon comes away with his first interception of the season. First a hit from Allen, and the result, McCleon takes it away for Kansas City. Patrick Surtain had an interception in the first quarter of the season opener for Kansas City. As Priest Holmes tries out the left side, and the Eagles defense is starting to figure it out. Donnie Jones on the stop. And here is the interception, finally picked up by this Chiefs defense.
Well, Philadelphia likes to run this half roll, and they're going to turn all the linemen back, and the reason that they do that, it's their best protection to try to shore up the backside. But what you're going to see, Artis Hicks again does not get his feet in proper position, and Jared Allen runs right by him, and so as a result, Donovan takes a big hit, and then it causes the interception down the field.
Second down and 9. And off to Priest Holmes running to the right. And Jeremiah Trotter with a big hit after a gain of 5.
And we talked about the hits that Donovan has taken, and you know, those are the kind that don't feel real good, and that's exactly what kind of happened to him in that Atlanta game as far as getting hit and then going to the ground. And we've seen Terrell Owens and have talked about how he's been on the sidelines trying to get his wind, and you wonder if he was running better, could he in fact have been able to get under that ball that was intercepted by Dexter McCleon?
Humidity is up. It is hot. It's in the mid to upper 80s today. It appears to be having an effect on Owens. 3rd down and 4. And the pass complete. Kennison. Good enough for a Kansas City first down. Eddie Kennison, who had a huge first half, gets the catch and picks up 7. First 3 drives, and Kennison was a big part of it along with Priest Holmes. 17 points since then. Their last 5 possessions, nothing.
No, coming into this game, the Philadelphia Eagles have been very good defensively on 3rd down. They're not nearly as good today. Kansas City converting 50%.
And off to Priest Holmes. He breaks free from one tackler and gets it out to the 26. Picked up 4. Michael Lewis eventually ends up on top of Priest Holmes.
And I think you kind of wonder how much is Larry Johnson now going to play here in the second half with some of the issues that he's had with ball security going back to last week, and then the fumble that he had right before the first half. You know, do they ride Priest Holmes, even though he really is not accustomed to carrying the load, at least this year, because they've been platooning those 2 players.
2nd down and 6. Play action. Trent Green in trouble. Drops it off for Bo Richter. And incomplete. Big pressure on Green, who just got it away, and it's 3rd and 6. Next week, another Fox NFL Sunday doubleheader. Buccaneers and Jets early, along with the Seahawks and Rams. Big late game, the Eagles at Dallas. Dallas is losing 13-6. They're about ready to start the 4th quarter out in Oakland. Dallas starts the day 2-1, same as the Eagles. The Redskins are now 3-0 with their win today, and the Giants are 3-1. 3rd down and 6. The pass incomplete. Sammy Parker was coming out of his break, and Trent Green threw it right to him, and Parker did not make the catch.
It was a perfect throw. I mean, he threw that with tremendous anticipation as far as Parker coming out of his route. I'm not certain, however, that even if Sammy Parker catches this ball, that it's enough for a first down. It was a little bit short on the route. It would have been a good catch. He turned it loose, and as soon as Sammy Parker got his head turned around, the ball was on his chest.
Dexter Wynn is waiting for the punt. Colquitt has hit a couple of beauties. This one is high but short. Takes a good bounce and a dangerous pickup by Wynn. He was going to stay away until that bouncing punt ended up heading right toward him. Considine is the one who almost blocked the punt. It was a 2-yard return by Wynn.
Fox NFL Sunday is sponsored by the new 2006 Ford Explorer, the best Explorer ever. By Cisco, changing the way people work, live, play, and learn. Innovation powered by Cisco. By Coca-Cola Zero, real Coca-Cola taste plus nothing. And by State Farm, great service, great rates. That's why 40 million drivers trust State Farm.
Brian Westbrook for Philadelphia continues to be a non-factor. 33 total yards on 11 touches. They fake it his way. McNabb for Owens, who gets behind the defense. He got behind the linebacker Johnson, and Owens is good for the reception of 30 yards.
I tell you, Joe, I'm really surprised at how open Terrell Owens has been really throughout the entire day. Here he is at the slot, and it's not a real complicated route. He's just going to run vertically up the field and then go to the corner, and there's just no safety help over there to cover him. Sammy Knight was brought up, and just a breakdown in coverage, and Terrell Owens has had a heck of a game already, and you just think to the misses that he's had, he could very easily have about another 50 yards and about 3 touchdowns.
McNabb is just going to go down. And there's Allen again. That's the first sack of the day for Kansas City.
Pretty good job by Donovan McNabb just hanging on to that ball, because Jared Allen and everyone else for Kansas City was trying to strip it out of his hands, but Donovan was able to secure it and not fumble. And Jared Allen, he's a very disruptive force on the outside, and he's playing with a tremendous amount of energy today, and he's gotten back there. Even though he hasn't gotten sacks, he's been able to get back there and certainly disrupt things, especially here over the last couple of series.
That was his second sack of the year. It's 2nd down and 11. McNabb with Allen bearing down on him, gets it to Terrell Owens. So good in the open field, and he's knocked out of bounds inside the 5 at the 3. Greg Wesley on the stop, a 28-yard completion to Owens.
Well, you know, it's almost comical, Joe. I mean, there's nobody around this guy. I mean, this is Terrell Owens, who last year put up huge numbers and 14 touchdowns, and here you've got Sapp, who's playing so far inside that that's just easy pitch and catch for Terrell Owens and Donovan McNabb, and I'm not so sure right there that there shouldn't have been a late hit on that call.
It's 1st and goal. Gunther Cunningham is the defensive coordinator, and Owens has eaten up this Kansas City secondary. McNabb keeps it. Nice fake. Hangs in and throws for the touchdown to Bartram. Mike Bartram is the long snapper for the Philadelphia Eagles, and now the Eagles indicate they're going to go for 2.
Well, I got to tell you, Donovan McNabb, it's one of those things where you just cannot afford to take a sack here, and so you're constantly trying to weigh. Do I hold on to it and try to make a play, or do I throw it away? Donovan was able to brush off, again, Jared Allen back there putting pressure on him, and then he finds Bartram in the back of the end zone. But a good play there by Donovan McNabb, sticking with the play and making the touchdown.
What a time for his first catch. His 2nd career touchdown. And now out of the backfield, Westbrook. And all of a sudden, it's a tie game at 24. Brian Westbrook, who's been a non-factor, picks up 2 huge points for the Eagles to tie it. Terrell Owens got him down the field. Donovan McNabb, with that beaten-up body, hung in, stayed tough. Bartram with a touchdown catch. Westbrook for 2, and this game is tied. Terrell Owens is on the bench, squirting water all over his face. What a day he's had. And amazingly, he's been running free through this Kansas City secondary really this entire half and for almost the entire 2nd quarter.
Well, and even on the ones that they haven't been able to complete to him, he's been running wide open as well. We saw the 2 misses, the one in the first half there on the post route against Patrick Surtain, and then the other one here in the second half when Donovan just overthrew him.
So now Trent Green, this Kansas City offense, will go back to work. Another short kick by France, and the dangerous Dante Hall takes it from just inside the 15. McMullen can't bring him down. Now Hall's out of time, and he's out to the 36-yard line. I know, Troy, you have so much respect for Donovan McNabb, not just what he does on the field, we'll talk about that, but the kind of leader he is, how he handles everything that has gone on off the field. And physically, you have to wonder how he's doing it week after week.
And not only this year, Joe, but in previous years as well. I mean, this is a guy who played a game with a broken leg and played very well, throwing 4 touchdowns. And then you look at what he's doing here today, and he comes out in the second half, much like what he did last week against Oakland, and just having a heck of a performance. And we certainly understand that there are other players that are playing hurt, but for a quarterback to be playing through some of the elements that he is awfully impressive.
What happened?
I think one of the officials just went down, the head linesman. It is a hot day, and he may have to take a break. He says he's okay. That's George Hayward. I don't know if he slipped down or because of the humidity. We've seen Terrell Owens trying to get oxygen on the sideline. We'll wonder and maybe try to find out what happened. I don't know if he tripped and fell down or if he got a little woozy with the heat. Minute 44 remaining, 3rd quarter, and it's a reverse to Kennison. Pass blocking. Eddie Kennison. Big game for Kansas City. Forced out of bounds by Trent Cole, and there is a Philadelphia Eagle. I believe it's Grasmanis down. Paul Grasmanis can't get up.
Well, here's the reverse, and Trent Green makes a heck of a block on Sheldon Brown. Sheldon Brown was the only guy who could really force that play, and Trent Green was able to get to him. And then Mark Boerichter there on Michael Lewis also gets a key block. A good execution, and a number of Eagle players went down on the ground.
Dawkins was one of them, Grasmanis the other, and Dawkins needs help to get to the sideline. Grasmanis got up hobbling, couldn't put any weight on one of his legs. It was a 23-yard reverse to Kennison with 2 injured Eagles left in his wake. Grasmanis near the line of scrimmage, and then Dawkins about 10 yards downfield from the original line of scrimmage.
And Dahani Jones was down as well, but he was able to get up and walk off the field on his own power. And Dawkins, it was Dahani Jones who Brian Dawkins got tangled up with in pursuit.
You don't know if he rolled over his ankle. They're looking at his left leg. He's pressing on his shin area. Now Grasmanis is trying to catch his breath. But he got up and was trying to hop off the field on one leg. And it is the ankle. You could see when he stepped awkwardly on the body of Dahani Jones, he rolled over that leg, and there's Dawkins, number 20. And here it is. Look at the left ankle.
You saw the roll of the left ankle, and yeah, that's exactly what it looks like, is that he rolled the ankle, and certainly enough, they're wrapping it now. And
well, they're wrapping his ankle, and they're bringing the cart out onto the field. There's something wrong with the right leg, ankle, or foot of Paul Grasmanis. He's a 10-year pro. And Brian Dawkins fills so many roles for this Eagles team. He's a guy who's the quarterback of this defense. He's a 4-time Pro Bowler. He's one of the best defensive backs anywhere in the NFL. And he was actually the between Donovan McNabb and Terrell Owens when they were going through their relationship problems. He is a leader, and he's a guy who is not only a rah-rah guy, but somebody who goes out on the field week after week and just is the very best at what he does.
Now, there's no question that this defense relies on him, as we see Paul Grasmanis now head into the locker room and get checked by the medical staff. Brian Dawkins, on the other hand, he's taped up, and it looks like he's going to be coming back out onto the field. He's going to have to sit out one play, but for Eagle fans, that's a good sight, knowing that he's going to be able to finish this game.
Like Grasmanis was trying to pump up that defense. We heard the report from Pam Oliver in the first half when she said they were talking on the defense. I think she was talking about Dawkins, saying they're not going to score any more points on us today. They did on a kick return, but not on this defense. It's a first down for Kansas City after that reverse, and Priest Holmes loses a yard. Mike Patterson, the rookie, on the stop.
He was tackled by Mike Patterson.
You know, we talked a little bit earlier about Mike Patterson, and you know, in our visit with Jim Johnson a couple of days ago, every time we asked a question, it seemed like he always brought the answer back to what a great job Mike Patterson was doing. Of course, you know, he's a first-round pick out of USC. Pete Carroll being the head coach there at University of Southern California. Jim Johnson said he's very well coached coming from that system, and he's picked up this defense about as quickly as anybody he's seen as a young player.
Dawkins is back in for Philadelphia. And that's tipped, knocked away by Curse. He's already 6'4", has great leaping ability, and he got his left hand up. Priest Holmes was the intended receiver and didn't get anywhere close to him.
Now, this is tough duty when, you know, and he wasn't intended to be blocked. The way that play's designed, you hope that you're able to just get the ball past him. But Javon Curse is such a big, wide guy as far as his wingspan. It's hard throwing that type of route against him when he's rushing the quarterback.
Third down and 11. Trent Green started 8 for 8. in this game since. He's 4 for 10. Four-man rush for the Eagles, and Gonzalez drops it. Still would have come up shy of a first down, but it brings up 4th down and the punting unit onto the field for Kansas City.
Pretty good job there by Philadelphia after giving up the big gain on the reverse when it looked like Kansas City was going to be able to sustain a drive and potentially come away with points. They stepped up, losing Brian Dawkins, Paul Grasmanis, and were able to force Kansas City into a punt.
Look who's in the middle of that play. Brian Dawkins for Philadelphia. Reno Mahe is now waiting deep, and we'll see how good Colquitt is at downing the ball inside the 20. Mahe takes it in at the 10.
32-yard punt, no return.
It has been and won the World Series. That being said, Division Series Game 1 Tuesday night. The Yankees out in Anaheim to take on the Angels at 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific. 27 seconds left in the third.
You know, I haven't heard Wham since we were over at your house there in St. Louis for that Christmas party last year.
I tell you, nothing says holidays like George Michael. First down for Philadelphia. From their own 10. They just don't want to run the ball at all. Pass is complete to L.J. Smith, a gain of 5, and that'll do it for the third quarter here in Kansas City. The Chiefs have never lost a game in which they have led by more than 17 points. In the first half, they led by 18. The start of the fourth quarter, tied with Philadelphia. Back after this from your local Fox station. 15 minutes left in Kansas City. 24-24, and the statistics through 3. 18 unanswered points. The Eagles have been right at their season mark. 79% of their offensive plays have been pass plays. And Westbrook's only real contribution has been on the 2-point conversion. L.J. Smith takes a seat right at the 20-yard line. And it's a first down for Philadelphia. Let's go down to Pam Oliver.
Hey, Joe, well, Chiefs defensive coaches have been urging the guys in the secondary all afternoon to just play your boundaries where T.O. is concerned. Well, it's interesting as the afternoon has progressed, that rhetoric changed. They're saying things now to the effect of, let's just go out there and make a play. Defensive coordinator Gunther Cunningham seemed disgusted to the point he just walked over in front of that group, took a look at the pictures, shook his head, and walked away. Joe?
Thanks, Pam. The handoff is to Westbrook. And Brian now has 36 total yards on the day.
He was tackled by Kendrell Bell and Eric Hicks.
Eric Hicks of the defense for Kansas City gets hit in the chops on his way out onto the field. This defense is just trying to slow down Philadelphia. As Pam said, try to find Terrell Owens and put somebody on him. Second down and 7. Lamar Gordon makes a move, breaks a tackle. First down out across the 40. Gordon picks up 19.
You know, so many times people are quick to judge Andy Reid and why he doesn't run the ball more, but you know, these types of throws, in his opinion, are really running plays because they're safe throws for Donovan McNabb. It's right over the ball. You make a 5-yard throw, get the ball into the hands of somebody who can make people miss, and you give yourself a chance to create some big plays. Nice job of execution, both by Donovan McNabb and then Lamar Gordon.
With Ricky Williams coming back to the Dolphins, Lamar Gordon was cut loose by the Dolphins, and the Eagles picked him up, a bigger back. McNabb fires, and the pass complete. Greg Lewis. And Greg Lewis has a first down just outside the Kansas City 25.
And one of the reasons why Donovan McNabb was afforded the time to make that throw was because of Brian Westbrook. So he shows you that he's not just a runner, he's not just a receiver, but he's also a pretty doggone good blocker. And he gives Donovan time to throw the ball. You've got Greg Lewis running a heck of a route and a big game.
Opening minutes of the fourth quarter and a first down for Philadelphia from the 25. The pass is complete. Greg Lewis picks up 4.
You know, Greg Lewis, you go back to last year, and he really started coming on at the end of the season. And I know even going back to his rookie year, you know, in talking with Mike Quick, former wide receiver for the Philadelphia Eagles, he was always very impressed with Greg Lewis and his ability to run routes and getting in and out of his breaks. And I know Donovan McNabb likes him a lot, and now he's the #2 receiver who's taken the place of Todd Pinkston when he got hurt.
2nd down and 5. McNabb throws high and incomplete for Steven Spock. Derek Johnson, the rookie linebacker, on the coverage. And that'll bring up 3rd and 5.
Joe, you talk about Brian Westbrook as far as him not being real involved in the game plan today. Here he is running down the field trying to run the post route. He had a chance if Donovan had seen him, but you know, I tend to think that because of Westbrook and his abilities, a lot of the reasons why we're seeing Greg Lewis and Terrell Owens open like they are, I think a lot of that has to do with a lot of the focus on Brian Westbrook.
3rd down and 5. Pass is dropped. Incomplete for Lewis. Had it in his hands and lost it.
And that's a big drop because they pick up the 1st down if he's able to bring that in. And now we go back to the situation that has been haunting Eagle fans for the last several weeks. They've got to try to kick a field goal.
And McNabb knew they had it. Lewis started to make a move before he gathered it in. And here's Todd France making his NFL debut today. He's had one block from 40, made one from 44, and this is a 37-yard try. And you can credit Coy Detmer with a terrific job of getting that ball up and ready for the kick. And Andy Reid, for the 2nd time, is smiling as Todd France comes off the field. Terrell Owens, part of this Eagles offense, which has caught fire. Philly up 3.
Fox NFL Sunday is sponsored by the all-new 2006 Jeep Commander. It's your world. Take command. By MasterCard, there's some things money can't buy. For everything else, there's MasterCard. By Intel Centrino Mobile Technology. And by Circuit City. For the hottest new technology, think Circuit City, just what I needed.
The dangerous Dante Hall has already returned one for a touchdown today, waiting for this off the foot of France. From outside the 10. Gets to the 25 and lost the ball. And Philadelphia has it. Came out of that pile with a football, and with 11.5 minutes to go in the 4th quarter, Philadelphia has it up 3, and the ball is at the Kansas City 25.
Well, Philadelphia was able to get a hand on Dante Hall, and it looked like he was getting ready to go to the ground there, but he kept fighting, trying to get away, and all of a sudden the ball came out. It's hard to tell whether or not the ball got punched out or whether Dante Hall just dropped it. But whatever happened, when you look at this game, as far as whoever's going to go on to win or whoever's going to go on to lose, special teams has certainly played a big role in this game.
You know who made that happen? Backup linebacker Mike Labinjo. He's the one who got his hand on Hall and stopped him, held him up, and then the ball popped out. Pass complete to Owens. He's wide open again. And this Eagles offense is shredding this much maligned Kansas City defense.
And I just think that Kansas City defensively right now, I mean, of course, they came into this game after what happened last week. They believe they're a better football team defensively than what they've shown in previous years. If they are, this is a point in the ball game where you've got to be able to step up defensively and not allow a touchdown for Philadelphia and keep this ball game a 6-point game.
1st down from the 11. McNabb, pump fake, flips it, and it's nearly picked off. L.J. Smith, the intended receiver, and Sammy Knight almost took it away.
That time Donovan McNabb trying to run a little slant and go route to Terrell Owens on the bottom of the screen. Surtain doesn't fake on the, or bite on the fake, and then he comes back inside to L.J. Smith, and Donovan was pretty lucky there because there was nowhere to throw that football.
This Kansas City defense ranked 31st in the NFL last year. 27th coming into this game, but they had looked much better the first 2 weeks until Denver last Monday night. Handoff is to Gordon. And Lamar sets up third down. The Eagles can get a first down without getting it into the end zone. It'll be third and long here after Gordon picked up 3.
Well, the good news for Kansas City is that they have been very good today on third down. Philadelphia has only converted 1 third down out of 7 attempts, and this is a critical one here.
McNabb with his third straight 300-yard passing day. That's a Philadelphia team record. Third down and 7. McNabb flips, tips, caught L.J. Smith, and it looks like he got enough for a first down. L.J. Smith hauled it in, hung on after the tip by Kendrell Bell.
Yeah, how about that?
Picked up a first down.
How about that catch, Joe? Kendrell Bell gets a hand on the ball there, and L.J. Smith is still able to concentrate on it and turn back around and make the catch. And now did he have possession going to the ground?
I believe it's a catch, and his knee was down, but it's going to be interesting as Kansas City will challenge this. First of all, with a catch, the way they term it, did he make the catch, and was he able to make another football act? I believe under that criteria, Troy, you can make the case that he caught it, was able to make another football act there, and now the question is, does the ball come out before his knee hits down?
And I think you're right, Joe. He definitely was able to make another football act as it's defined in the rule book, and so once he has possession of the ball there's the football act with the turn.
And the ruling on the field that the receiver did not catch the pass.
And the knee's on the ground before the ball comes out. I think that's a completed pass and a first down for the Eagles.
On top of that, he was ruled down, so forget the fumble at the end of the play. The question is, did he catch it, have control of it? Was he able to make another football act? A challenge from Kansas City. The answer when we come back.
Viewing the play, the receiver caught the ball. His knee went down. It is a catch. Kansas City will be charged a timeout, and there are other challenges.
So Kansas City with 2 timeouts left. It was either going to be 4th and 7 at the 8 or 1st and goal at the Kansas City 1. The Chiefs were not going to get the football as a result of the review, but in the judgment of our referee, Pete Morelli, the pass was caught. He was able to make another football act. The knee was down before the ball came out, and therefore it's a catch.
Well, and Kendrell Bell's just got to be sick because he had a clear shot at it, was able to get his hand on the ball, but he didn't knock the ball down. He knocked the ball up in the air, and that's why L.J. Smith was able to make the catch.
Trey Dazulek, an extra offensive lineman, is on the right side of the line, number 66 on 1st and goal from the 1. Handoff is to Gordon, and he goes nowhere. 2nd and goal from the 1. The other point about the catch, if in the official's estimation it's all part of one continuous act, then the question is, was his knee down before the ball came out? And it certainly looked like it was. And that's why the catch was ruled a catch, and that's the difference between trying a field goal here or having a 1st and goal from the 1. It's now 2nd and goal from the 1. Play action. McNabb gets out of trouble and flips for the touchdown to Smith. And McNabb showing great feet, good agility, bad groin at all to avoid trouble. and able to get that pass away to L.J. Smith, who has his second touchdown of the year.
Well, first or second down is the best down here to run play action, and they do it here on second, but pretty good protection there as far as giving Donovan just a little bit of time, and it's hard on the defense when you do run play action down here because you got to play the run if you're going to stop it, but L.J. Smith gets out to the corner.
France hits the extra point, and it's a 10-point game. 28 straight Philadelphia Eagle points. They've taken this crowd out of it here at Arrowhead. 34-24 Philadelphia. Todd France kicks it away. It's a short kick. It's Dante Hall from about the 7. Can he inject some life into the Kansas City Chiefs? He gets it out to the 26. We welcome some new members to our audience. Joe Buck, Troy Aikman, Pam Oliver with you from Kansas City, where the Chiefs jumped out to a 17-0 lead. And clearly the turning point in the game. It was 24-6 toward the end of the first half, when Larry Johnson could not handle the handoff from Trent Green. Rayburn recovered for Philadelphia, and since then the Philadelphia Eagles have scored 28 unanswered points. Larry Johnson hangs on to the ball here, picks up 3, but this crowd, with the Chiefs down by 10, wants to see them put it up.
Well, it's a 2-score game, so yeah, they're definitely going to have to be able to get down the field and create some big plays, and then defensively they've got to be able to shut Philadelphia, and there's no question that which we just showed as far as the fumble by Larry Johnson before the first half ended is the big play. I mean, you allow a team that had been struggling to get right back into it prior to the half.
2nd down and 7. Quick throw, and Trotter knocks it down. Here are the Chiefs, who might suffer their biggest collapse in their franchise history today. Looking at the AFC West, Denver won today. They're now 3-1. San Diego just dismantled New England. They're 2-2. Kansas City on its way to a 2-2 record unless they rally, and they're faced with a 3rd and 7. Tony Gonzalez, 1 catch. He's only been thrown to 3 times. Green steps up and hits Hall. Penalty flag on the play in the secondary. A penalty flag in the secondary. It's a 22-yard completion to Dante Hall.
There is no penalty on the play. First down, Kansas City.
So the 22-yard play will stand.
And Trent Green, he talked to us the other day and said that Dante Hall, he's a terrific talent. He's got great speed. The problem is he's just a little guy, and so he's very difficult to try to get the ball to because he feels like the ball's got to be perfectly thrown. A better throw there, they get more out of that play.
On first down, Green pulls it back in and goes down. Patterson was in there. Dawkins, the safety, was coming on a blitz. He was a part of it. And a loss of 3. Just so you know, we saw Paul Grasmanis leave earlier. He left with an Achilles injury. So he is out for the rest of the day, and Jim Johnson has dialed up that defense after a slow start.
Well, Jim Johnson, I mean, true to form, anytime in offense, particularly in a close ball game when you have to make a play, whenever an offense starts moving the ball, he's going to bring pressure. He is not a coach that's afraid to gamble and bring people to get after the quarterback.
We saw a shot of 10-time Pro Bowler Willie Roaf, who the Chiefs miss. This pass is tipped and picked off by Brown, his second of the day. And Sheldon Brown will go down at the Kansas City 40. Eddie Kennison, the intended receiver. It's an interception and a 19-yard return by Sheldon Brown.
Well, when you get behind and you're trying to get back into a game against a defense like the Philadelphia Eagles, it is extremely difficult. They've got as good a secondary as there is in football, and this ball by Trent Green gets it to the outside, and the ball just gets popped up. I mean, Eddie Kennison trying to make a play. Sheldon Brown there able to make the interception, but You just don't want to find yourself down 10 late in the fourth quarter and being forced to throw the football. If you go back to early in this game when Kansas City had their most success, it was because they were able to be balanced. You can't be that when you're down 2 scores.
That is the 4th Kansas City turnover. Rod Hood was a part of that play, trying to make up for a terrible first half. The only thing the Chiefs defense can hang their hat on at the end of the day to this point is that for the most part they've shut down Brian Westbrook, one of the big weapons in the NFL.
Yeah, but I don't think they're real excited about that based on the outcome of this game, at least up to this point.
I'm just throwing a bouquet out there. I'm saying here's what they can hang their hat on a otherwise miserable defensive collapse.
Well, it has been tough. There's no question. And you know, last week it was the running game of Denver's, and then this week it's the passing of the Philadelphia Eagles. And so they've got to bye next week, and they're certainly going to have to readdress just what they are going to hang their hat on, Joe, because they haven't played particularly well, at least here over the last couple of weeks.
They played well the first 2 games. Not good on Monday night in Denver, and again here today against the Eagles. For anyone who was fortunate enough to call Hank Stram a friend, not only Hank but his wife Phyllis, so relieved that he was able to get the thrill of going into the NFL Hall of Fame before he passed away recently. Longtime coach here with the Kansas City Chiefs, longtime broadcaster in the NFL, and a wonderful human being. Terrell Owens makes the catch. They call him down. The Chiefs are trying to fight for a turnover. Mitchell on the tackle, a gain of 5, and you look at the difference in halves for each side. And Troy, you serve for Kansas City after a big first half. This defense for Philadelphia, and Pam gave us the report earlier, made good on their promise that at least defensively they weren't going to give up any more points, and they haven't.
I mean, for this Kansas City offense to come out in the first half and have over 200 yards of offense against a great defensive team is extremely impressive, and you've got to be impressed as well with the way Philadelphia shut them down in the second half.
3rd down and 5. Blitz coming. Johnson can't bring down McNabb, and the pass complete to Smith. The rookie Derek Johnson had a wide open shot at Derek McNabb, or Donovan McNabb rather, and Derek Johnson could not bring down that big body, as banged up as it is.
And this is one of the things when you talk to defensive players that they always talk about, is how difficult it is to get him to the ground. There's often times, because the Eagles do like to get 4 and 5 receivers out on routes, that they are going to take some shots on Donovan, but he's a hard guy to tackle.
Donovan had never had back-to-back 300-yard days through the air until last week. Now he's got 3 in a row. Handoff is to Gordon, and a penalty flag comes in the area of a hole.
Holding, number 73, offense, 10-yard penalty, remains first down.
That's Andrews. Let's go for a game break and check in with James Brown.
Joe, with the Cowboys trailing by 3, Drew Bledsoe on 4th and 4. His attempt at a fourth quarter comeback falls short. Intended receiver was Terry Glenn. It looks like Oakland will get its first victory of the season. Let's send it back to Joe Buck.
So North Turner is on his way to his first win of the year, the longtime offensive coordinator with you at Dallas.
Yeah, big win for him and that Raider team. Two tough losses to these teams playing here today with Philadelphia, Kansas City. Nice win for that organization.
First down and 20. McNabb drops it off for Gordon. Lamar Gordon making moves in the open field down to the 20. And Hank Fraley is going to get into it with Lionel Dalton, which is not a good idea when you're Hank Fraley and you don't have your helmet on.
I tell you, Joe, I'm impressed. I guess I'm impressed. I mean, there's Andy Reid, and with just under 5 minutes to play, and you're trying to take time off the clock, first down, and you're still throwing the football. And, you know, there's no question Andy Reid likes throwing the football, but to me, that just shows you the kind of confidence that he has in his ball club, particularly number 5, Donovan McNabb, that when he's trying to take time off the clock, he trusts that Donovan's going to complete passes.
He said, yeah, I guess I need to dial up the run more. As we said earlier, he said if I had my way, we wouldn't run it at all. And why would you when you can just keep dropping it off to Westbrook or Gordon, and when you want to go downfield, you go to L.J. Smith or Terrell Owens?
Well, he practically hadn't run it today. I mean, they've run the ball 13 times, and they've thrown it 46 times. And I certainly didn't think coming into this game with Donovan's health, the way that it was, that I know going back to last week, they threw it 52 times, but I really thought that Andy Reid would be a little bit more balanced in this game. But as he's told us, and as Brad Childress, their offensive coordinator, has told everybody all week, we're going to do what we do. And over the last 3-4 years, we've seen that what they do is throw the football.
Well, McNabb and Owens, part of the combination through the air, got off to a slow start today. But that changed. Terrell Owens kept getting wide open, not just open, but wide open, and so good in the open field when the ball's in his hands. And Owens now has 99 career touchdown receptions. He has one on the day. And another 10-plus catch, 100-plus yard afternoon.
You know, the other guy who had a big day today is L.J. Smith. I mean, we focused on Terrell Owens, but L.J. Smith with 9 receptions in the game today.
This is Westbrook. Nowhere for Brian to go. Gets a couple. Kansas City is left with only one timeout. And this stadium is left about half full. It is a complete wrap-up after our game on the OT. And we invite you to stay tuned for that. A controversial ending between the Buccaneers and the Lions. It was a great day to be a Manning. JB, Terry, Howie, and Jimmy will explain right after this game on the OT from the Fox Television Center. Kansas City spent their final timeout. And as a little tease for what these two guys did, the brothers Manning, Peyton, 20 of 27, 4 touchdowns. 4 touchdowns for Eli Manning. No interceptions, great quarterback ratings, and I guess the most important thing is 2 victories. The Giants are off to that very good start. They're 3-1.
Well, you wonder if the Manning brothers are going to talk to each other tonight, compare notes, and brag about how well they played. I know Archie Manning was at Eli Manning's game today. They're in New York.
Those are the undefeated teams that are left. Washington won today. Cincinnati did it again, and Tampa Bay barely survived Harrington and the Lions. Had a touchdown called back. It's unbelievable. I mean, here they are up 10. 3.5 minutes to go. No timeouts left for Kansas City, and they're still throwing the ball.
And you've got one of the best defenses in football on your team, and so if you're not able to at least get first downs and get a touchdown and you're forced to kick a field goal, I mean, it's not like you don't have a great defense that's going to play well anyway.
3rd and goal from the 8-yard line.
It's 3rd down and goal. We welcome a new portion of our audience. 3.5 minutes left. A tremendous comeback by the Eagles today. And look at Donovan McNabb fighting to keep the play alive. And he throws out of the reach of Terrell Owens, and McNabb needs to get helped up. That's the other part of this.
Well, that's right, Joe. And I mean, you've got to show some caution when your quarterback is as banged up as what Donovan is. And you know, you got your first downs, you moved the football, you took some time off the clock, and now I think you just run the ball and see what you can do and settle for a field goal if you need to, because Donovan's taken a couple of unnecessary hits.
Unnecessary would be the key word. McNabb came off that play limping, and Hicks is down on his back. But not only run the ball to, as you said, run the clock out, and as you alluded to, you've got to protect Donovan McNabb every chance you can get. First of all, he's still in the game, okay, but why drop him back? And he's rolling out and trying to make plays. That's just his nature, and he's taking extra hits, and he's now limping, and we haven't seen him limp much during the course of the day. Our game summary: the Chiefs jumped out in front 17-0. Dante Hall had his 6th career kick return for a touchdown to put Kansas City up 24-6. But since then, look at that bottom line. 28 unanswered points, thanks mainly to Donovan McNabb and those 369 passing yards. Now we look at the injury to Hicks, number 98, coming off the corner, and he's such a big part of this Kansas City defense.
Yeah, he has been for quite some time. You see the right knee there, that it looks like that's where he has the injury. Kendrell Bell stepping on him there, and they really can't, no one can afford to lose a player of the caliber of Eric Hicks, and the Kansas City Chiefs certainly can't. They're already without Ryan Sims, who was starting to come on as a first-round pick a couple of years ago, and there's questions that he may miss the rest of the season as well. So they're already pretty thin there in that defensive line position, and losing Eric Hicks could prove costly.
So Kansas City started this season with a 27-7 win at home here against the Jets. Then they go out and win 23-17 on a Sunday night at Oakland. But since then, a 30-10 loss at Denver on Monday night, and then this, where they had Philadelphia, it seemed like, packed away until that fumble on the exchange between Trent Green and Larry Johnson. And since then, it's been literally all Philadelphia. 26-yard try now from Todd France. He's had one blocked, made two. And he looks like he's going to be okay.
Yeah, he's got his confidence back, hasn't he?
Nothing to it for the engineering major from Toledo. So Andy Reid has kept the pedal down and is dialing up pass after pass, and now stalking the sideline, thinking about a 3-1 start. And with all that's gone on, if we started the second half talking about Donovan McNabb, I think with all that his body has gone through and everything that happened during the offseason and training camp, how do you come out of this game and talk about anybody, at least any individual, other than Donovan McNabb?
Yeah, I don't know how you can, Joe. I mean, for the injuries that he's overcome, and certainly, you know, they're well documented and people have talked an awful lot about it, but even putting that aside, I mean, this is a young man who comes out every week and plays very hard. He represents this organization very well, and the start that he's gotten off to here this season is extremely impressive. I think you've got to like the way the entire Philadelphia Eagle organization, coming off that difficult loss in the opener against Atlanta, and the way that they've been able to rebound and then string these 3 wins together.
Yeah, you talk about the bigger picture in the organization. We said it last year during the Super Bowl. This may be the best run organization in the NFL, the Philadelphia Eagles, from the front office to the head coach, to the coordinators, to the assistants, to the actual personnel. And they seemingly have it all. And they show no signs of slowing down. Dante Hall takes it from the 10. And he runs into a 2-man wall. Mark Semino was there, along with Dexter Wynn. 16-yard return by Dante Hall. And Trent Green and company will try and make something happen, although they trail here 37-24, no timeouts, and just over 3 minutes left. This looked like it was going to be a blowout the other way. Who would have thought when it was 24-6, we'd be talking here at the end of the game of a 37-24 score, and Kansas City just trying to make it more respectable. Kennison is left wide open, and he makes the catch at the 40.
Well, I still think you got to go back to that fumble by Larry Johnson right before the end of the first half, and how that completely changed the momentum of this football game. It did not look like Philadelphia was ever going to get back into it prior to that.
There's Gonzalez, and Tony Gonzalez makes the catch, stays on his feet. And I was just going to say, you know, the Chiefs are going to have to answer questions after the game as to why they didn't involve Gonzalez in the offense. I mean, he was nowhere to be found today.
Yeah, and how about when we visited with Jim Johnson and how concerned he was with Tony Gonzalez and what a threat he is. And of course, we all know that, but they certainly weren't able to get him the football.
Priest Holmes makes the catch, and over the middle picks up the first down, got 9. The Chiefs didn't look like they could be stopped in the first possession, the second possession, even the third. They built up that 17-0 lead. Jim Johnson was yelling on the sidelines. The defensive players yelling at each other, and since then they have clamped down on Kansas City. Dante Hall is brought down by Rod Hood after a gain of 4. Here's the final from Oakland with the Raiders getting their first win, beating Dallas. 2 minutes left in Kansas City. The Eagles on their way to a 3-1 start. The three of us plus many more are with you from Kansas City. Welcome in a new audience, 37-24, and the score by quarter is significant. If you're just joining us, Kansas City built a 17-0 lead, 24-6, and since then it has been all Philadelphia. Trent Green throws, it's tipped, and 2 Eagles had a shot at the interception. The last one was Dawkins. Before Dawkins, Ware. Let's look back. The comeback for the Philadelphia Eagles started literally right here. Close to the end of the first half, the Eagles came down and got the touchdown throw to Terrell Owens to tighten it up a bit. Bartram with a touchdown catch, L.J. Smith with another. And the Eagles have rolled to a 37-24 lead. Priest Holmes. Alito Shepard brings him down before he gets a first down, and there's a flag on the play. To say it again, the Chiefs have never lost a game in which they've led by more than 17.
Illegal block in the back. Number 54, offense. 10-yard penalty. Still third down.
Fox's football coverage does not end when the games are over. Afterwards, stick around for the OT, where JB, Terry, Howie, and Jimmy bring you extended highlights, exclusive interviews, analysis, and a look ahead to next week's action. It's the OT right after this game. Controversial ending in Tampa, and a new feature this week, studs and duds.
And what might that be about?
I would imagine the studs are the ones who played well, and the duds are the ones who didn't. Third down and 16. With a catch in the open field and out of bounds at the 15-yard line. Minute 38 remaining.
Well, and that was a pretty big pickup right there, because the Kansas City Chiefs, they don't have any timeouts, but yet if they're able to get a quick score here, obviously they come back with an onside kick and a chance to get the ball and potentially still win this game. This game's a long way from being over.
So Bo Richter made the catch. Run out of bounds at the 15-yard line. Minute 38 remaining. 13-point Philadelphia lead. And Green in trouble, throws it out of the reach of Sammy Parker. How about the NFC East? Did people realize coming into this season how improved some of these teams were? And Washington's 3-0. The Giants 3-1. Philadelphia, if they hang on, will be 3-1. And Dallas just lost a chance at the end of the game to sneak another win out of Oakland, and they're 2-2.
Well, yeah, it's shaping up as maybe the most difficult division in football. When you look at this, and the teams that everyone thought were going to be better, Washington, the Giants, and Dallas certainly are, and I don't think they've gotten to the level of Philadelphia, but they have gained ground.
Dallas and Philadelphia meet next week in Dallas. Dante Hall trying to make a move, trying to get into the end zone, and he gets there for the touchdown. And now with the extra point, it would be a 6-point game, and there's still a minute 24 remaining. Again, Kansas City with no timeouts left, and it's going to come down to something we've talked about a couple of times in this game, special teams and how an onside kick is defended and how one is trying to be executed by the Chiefs.
Well, and we saw the concern on Andy Reid's face after this touchdown was scored. Dante Hall does a good job after he makes the catch of just individual effort of getting it into the end zone. But yeah, this is turned into a ball game here down the stretch, especially if Kansas City is able to get the onside kick.
They're going to a booth review as we're inside 2 minutes. Dante Hall.
We're going to review whether the runner scored.
The question is, did that knee come down and hit into the grass before the ball crossed the plane?
Of course, Dante Hall, he had the fumble as well there on the kickoff return that helped set up a score, and he's trying to do what he can to make up for that, but it looked to me like he got in. Of course, from that angle it's hard to tell, but if the ball crosses the plane, well, the knee's down there, and the ball's not across the goal nor at the pylon, so it looks from that angle that this one will be coming back, or at least to the 1 yard line.
Depends on if there's enough evidence to overturn the call, and that is going to be up to Pete Morelli. The knee comes down, and the question is, and we haven't seen a real definitive look yet, where the football is in relation to the goal line when the knee of Dante Hall eventually hits down. He got an extra foot or so before he looked like he was going down, and then here at the very end gets a little extra push before that knee comes down. I think you can always fall back on that age-old, there isn't enough evidence to overturn the call. The question is, where's the ball right now, and it's just too difficult to tell.
Yeah, we really haven't had a definitive angle to say this is exactly where the ball was when the knee is on the ground, even though it would appear that the ball had not yet crossed the goal line. Looks like right there is when the ball finally reaches that moment, but his knee had long been on the ground.
Here's a good look down the goal line. The knee is down there. See the side judge is there looking at it. He gave the touchdown, and is there enough evidence to overturn it? Remember, the extra point is coming if they keep the touchdown, and when that happens, Kansas City makes it a 6-point game. This Philadelphia defense, which had been swarming, backed off. Let that big completion happen with Bo Richter down the field, and that has set up some tense moments here for the Eagles and their fans down the stretch.
Ruling on the field stands. So it is a touchdown.
I just don't think there was enough evidence to overturn the call. And so now the extra point from Lawrence Tynes to make it a 6-point game. But his biggest kick will be the onside kick. It's a 6-point game. And those who remain at Arrowhead Stadium hoping that their Chiefs can get the ball back on the onside kick.
I know Jim Johnson and Andy Reid and the entire defense has got to be disappointed in the way that they allowed Kansas City to just methodically move down the field and get the ball into the end zone. Of course, the big third down conversion to Mark Bo Richter is the one that set it up. And so many times when you've got that kind of lead and then defensively you're playing a little softer, you're not bringing pressure like you generally would do, and teams are able to catch the ball and then run after the catch, and that's pretty much what we saw of Kansas City on that last possession.
Across the NFL, as far as onside kicks are concerned, it's only been accomplished one time, the kicking team getting the ball. And the hands team, as they call it, is out on the field for Philadelphia.
Yeah, in that group, as you can tell by the guys that are out there, a lot of the defensive backs and then L.J. Smith, all players that are accustomed to receiving the ball are going to be on this hands team to try to get this onside kick.
You got Steven Spock, you've got Matt Ware, L.J. Smith, Greg Lewis, Sheldon Brown, who has a couple of interceptions today, Quentin Michael. And only one player deep, Rod Hood for Philadelphia. And a timeout is going to be called by Philadelphia. Second timeout used by Andy Reid. He wanted to see which direction the Chiefs were going to go. Fox tonight kicks off with The Simpsons, followed by a new episode of The War at Home. Family Guy and American Dad. It all starts tonight at 8 Eastern, 7 Central, right here on Fox. There's John Harbaugh, who is the special teams coordinator for Andy Reid.
Yeah, he's one of the better special team coaches in the National Football League. He's done a great job with the special teams units here in Philadelphia for a number of years, and a good strategy on his part, wanting to see exactly how Kansas City was going to set up the onside kick. Now they call timeout. They make the necessary adjustments. Now the question is Kansas City going to come out and do something a little bit different?
There would certainly be enough time left on the clock for Kansas City if they get it back to go down the field. They have no timeouts remaining. And the kickoff is right into the gut of Mahe, and Philadelphia will take over. There are no penalty flags on the field, and the Eagles now can run out the clock. So it got a little closer than the Eagles would have liked, but that kick by Tynes went up into the air. It didn't get that second bounce, and it went right into the gut of Mahe.
And when you talk about John Harbaugh and the job that he does with his special teams unit, look what Reno Mahe does after he catches this ball. He immediately runs out of bounds to the sidelines and doesn't want to take any chances of anybody knocking the ball out of his hands and giving the ball back to Kansas City. And you know, that's taking care of the little things. And when you're going to win consistently, and if you're going to win as consistently as what the Eagles have over the years, you're going to pay attention to those little things that occur that allow you to win games late in games.
So now with 1:23 left, Donovan McNabb will take a knee. The Eagles will start 3-1. The Chiefs, after a 2-0 start, are back to a 500 club. They have an off week coming, and then Kansas City will host Washington. Meanwhile, Philadelphia will go to Dallas, our late game next Sunday, and after that they have a bye week when they can finally rest the body of Donovan McNabb. The OT is coming up right at the conclusion of our game here in Kansas City. Have highlights, sound from the locker rooms, controversial ending in Tampa Bay. We look at the AFC West. Denver, they beat Kansas City on Monday night. They won today, so they're 3-1. Kansas City and San Diego tied at 2-2, and then Oakland, they get their first win today over Dallas.
Well, we've just seen it too many times, Joe, in recent years in today's NFL that nobody is out. And I know that everyone's going to go back tonight and talk about this team and they're struggling and they're not doing this. But there's not a team in the league right now that's out of contention and should give up on the year.
Time runs out on this one in Kansas City, and an exhale on the part of Andy Reid. We'll take a break and come back with more from Arrowhead after this.